them good old boys are at it again, 'cause God told Trump it's time to win. Soaring high and mighty in red, white, and blew up another evil man. And we might have hit a school of children, but sacrifices must be made to pay for freedom. So don't you cry out fear or the terrorists win. Grab your guns, son, and suit up. It's time to do some liberating, 'cause you know these boots were made for marching. So marching's exactly what the fuck they're gonna do. Liberating the whole world in the name of red, white, and blue, and Israel too. And you know if we don't fight them over there, it'll be over here, and you don't want that shit, do you? The Bible says to bless that country, so what if dying for your country's just what the fuck you were born to do? Yeah. And the devil is an evil guy, a serpent and a father of lies. Thomas Massey got married twice, and now he's all butthurt over genocide. I had about enough of this guy. Trump said hate him, so I hate him, right? I mean, I'm curious about those Epstein files, but I guess Trump said it's time to go liberating. 'Cause you know these bombs were made for dropping, so dropping's exactly what the fuck they're gonna do. Liberating the whole world in the name of red, white, and blue, and Israel too. And you know if we don't fight them over there, it'll be over here, and you're not a bitch, are you? The Bible says to bless that country, so what if dying for their country is just what the fuck you were born to do? So lay down your dreams and raise up your flags and praise Trump that the world doesn't think we're all fags. We're so manly and tough, we just can't get enough of the blood of the children fueling our system. And praise Bow for the way he blessed Trump with a brain that could go from pro-peace to zombie John McCain. Well, America's back, the conservatives have won. And as we Christians always say, it's time to sacrifice our sons. Praise God! Praise God! He didn't know how much we love him, but we fucking know it now. Praise God! Hey! Praise God! We're grateful for your occupation. One nation under God. Praise God! The Goyim are all stupid, and they do our bidding now. Praise God! We didn't know how much we loved him, but we fucking know it now. USA! 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 9/11! Never forget! Bow bless you, America! USA! 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 USA!
Immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen, and sadly, there will likely be more before it ends. That's the way it is.
It's the Home Lift Left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Craig Pasta Jardula and Jay Scott. Episode 172, We Are the Terrorists. An all-new top censored news of the week. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Homeless Left. I'm your host, Matt Weinglass. This is the non-tribal place for news. It's a non-tribal place for us just to be, just to get through the days, through the weeks. It's not just about politics anymore, guys. It's about how we function day to day throughout our lives, throughout the interactions we have, our relationships, how we look at the world. It's well beyond politics. It's well beyond just a little hobby like what team are you rooting for in the Super Bowl? It's way beyond that at this point. In fact, those are the distractions. The team sports are the distractions. This is our actual lives. There's actually people that are affected by the psychotic policies that we've been imposing on our people and on the people around the globe pretty much our entire lifetimes. It's been made more obvious now than ever before. If you're not waking up to this at this point, I don't know what to say. We don't we're not in the business here of punching down at our neighbors and friends and family. That's what they have done to us, calling us all the names you can possibly imagine. This idea that being a conspiracy theorist was something to be feel bad about. It was meant as a slur. We're now wearing that as a badge of honor. Do we turn around and do that to them now? Is that what we do? We can try and take the higher road. We can understand that they're captured. They're part of that matrix that we understand, that you're plugged in, you're not thinking for yourself, you're waiting to be told what to think. You guys saw that opening video. We have fun here sometimes with the humor about it. We have to laugh sometimes how ridiculous it is, but that's not some outlandish AI bit that was just out of the world stuff. That actually was an indicator. What you guys saw there in the open, that's an indicator of the bending over backwards that has to take place in order to justify that we're still on the right side. We're not on the right side. We are the bad guys. What we're calling this episode is We Are the Terrorists. If you guys haven't figured that out yet, it's been us. And it's not just now, not just with Trump's warlike policies and the Secretary of War and all this war. It's not just now. We've been the terrorists. We've been the people on the wrong side of history. We've been writing the history books, so it's easy to get confused. American exceptionalism, the idea that this system is the best system ever to exist, and anybody else that tries anything different, well, F them. If what they were doing was so bad, if getting off the petrodollar was so bad, why don't we just let them fail on their own? Why do we have to go around the world and systematically take them out every time they try? Whether it's Saddam, whether it's Gaddafi, whether it's bin Laden, whether it's Maduro, Chavez, wherever it is. Why is it that we have to go and forcefully enforce our way? It's not sustainable. It's not functionable. There's nothing organic about it. So what is the thing that we're so proudful of, that we're so prideful of? If the thing that we're so invested in our ego and our pride and our identity, what is it if the entire thing is based on lies and imperialism and forcefulness and everything that's the opposite of something that works in an organic way that should speak for itself? So we're not in the business of saying we should do this system instead. Okay, well, we have a little slip Okay, guys, really sorry about that. We've had some issues with StreamYard, and as you guys know, we have been bumped off of here before. Fortunately, we got that out of the way. Usually, it never has happened more than one time, and it usually doesn't happen for once every month. I guess at this point, we were looking pretty good. We hadn't had this happen in a while, but I guess yeah, we have to be prepared for that. So luckily, we weren't in the middle of a important interview with multiple people involved in the discussion. So, we figured it out. We're here. We're back. I see you guys. Yes, thank you. We are back. And I think that's so we're good on YouTube. Let's see if are we okay on Rumble? Can you guys let us know if we're good on Rumble? Just wanted to check that, make sure. Yeah, there was a massive just reset that happened, and sometimes StreamYard will do that. It'll just knock you right off. We've heard other people have that same issue. Let me just make sure we got everything reset here correctly. Got all of our materials still working good here. Let's do this. Okay. We have our overlay there. Okay. I think we should be good. Yeah, looking good. Okay. So we're good on, are we good on Rumble? Just want to make sure. Yes. Okay, great. All right. Let's finish our thought here, and then we'll move on. In fact, I think we're going to be bringing in our first co-host here in just a few minutes, but let me just make sure we're reset here. We were in the middle of letting you guys know, and this is the battle we have to fight every day, right? We have to fight this battle against censorship, against the propaganda machine. Every way they have, they're constantly looking for ways to deplatform us, push us aside, not let us have these conversations. You guys know that's why we're here. That's why we're in this space, right? To do this. And so we need all your guys' help as well, that you guys can share this out. You guys can get this to your people, and whatever technique you have, whatever platform your guys are able to, share this out, engage with us on. And we appreciate all of it. We certainly do. So let's make sure we're all good here. I think we are good here. Okay. And if you're just joining us, welcome to the Homeless Left. It's a non-tribal approach to news. I'm your host, Matt Weinglass. We're going to have a pretty full show today. We got both our other co-hosts coming in, Craig Pasta, Jardula, Jay Scott. Lots of stuff to go through with the Iran war. We're found ourselves in another yet endless regime change war. With no exit strategy. We didn't really have an entrance strategy. That's the thing about this one. We didn't even have an entrance strategy. If you guys didn't notice, I don't know if any of the MAGAs noticed either, but this is okay. So let's go ahead and do this. Let me just put up the channels. This is our main channel, The Homeless Left on Rumble. We've been on this one the whole way. They have not pulled the plug on us, thank God. They just are really big on the what do you call it? The surveillance state. So they keep track of us. They certainly monitor us, but they haven't pulled the plug. And that's probably a smarter move on their part at Rumble. They're smarter to not pull the plug. Unlike YouTube, Google, they did pull our plug. The Homeless Left on YouTube doesn't actually exist. It doesn't exist. It used to until Google/YouTube/Israel spyware told us we were no longer fit for the community, right? Because our conversations were dangerous. They hurt people. Words are violence. Remember that one? Words are violence. So we started the new channel. It's called, there it is. It's THL Presents. THL Presents. It's actually, we were able to title the channel finally. It's called The Homeless Left on the title, but you still have to, it's still hard to find. So you got to do the whole @ THL Presents. It will come up. It's been working well for us so far. We're very happy. We're happy about, I think we broke some records last week. We really, actually it was just on Tuesday. We appreciate all you guys that came on THL Presents. I think we had about 45,000 watching. It's pretty cool for us because this channel is only 1 year old. So it's moving and shaking. We're happy about that. Oh, we're also on X on Matt Weinglass. Our other ones aren't up right now. There's just been too many connection issues. And I do blame StreamYard for that. We might have to find another platform to do this on, because the sharing, the tech stuff, they're always upgrading and changing stuff around, and it doesn't seem to work for us. So we'll see. We'll hang on to it a little longer until maybe we can find another way to do this. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and bring in our co-host, our first co-host for the day. You know him, you love him. Please welcome back to the show, Craig Pasta Jardula.
Hey guys, thank you for having me on, Matt. It's always a
Can we
pleasure,
see
buddy.
you?
Can you see me?
Why am I not seeing you? Oh man. Oh, hey, there we go. There we go.
My hair, I got my Kramer haircut today. I don't want to ruin it. I want to make it look good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There, you know.
I don't know if you no, you're looking good, man. I don't know if you saw what was happening there with the StreamYard stuff, man. It's pretty wild what's going on here.
There's StreamYard issues?
It's StreamYard. We have full internet. We have full everything's cool here. So I don't know what was going on there. It was freezing up, knocking me off. I hope that doesn't happen when we have like a big deal going here. Man, it's not that
how do I take this thing off the left side of my screen that's now up there?
Oh, so
Man, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard.
You got to press this stupid button that just appears. So you got to press this button on the left. It'll take that little thing because it's doing the iPhone thing now. It's saying, hey, this is what you look like on someone's iPhone on the vertical. They're doing verticals. Everyone's doing verticals now. So
is that what it is? It's about verticals?
That's what it is. So I think if you click it, it'll go away. That might have been the thing that contributed to knocking us off because I was trying to mess with it and I didn't want. I don't want that shit in my face. We're trying to run a news show here. I don't want cell phone stuff.
I can't get it off.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. Whatever.
It's gonna be there.
Also, they effed up my lighting here too. I think I got a little darker. I got to figure this out, man. This was they had like it was like a reset in the system. I'm gonna try one thing before we move on. Let me just try one thing, and I hope it doesn't knock me off again because I think it did last time. Okay, let's see. Does this work? Yes. Okay. Little more color there. Okay. You are lighter than me, but it's okay. People don't mind. At least they can see us. They can hear us. They can see us. We can have our conversations. I think we're going to be okay. Okay. Otherwise, how are you holding up?
Good, man. I got to listen today to Scott Ritter, who went on one of the shows I produce on my channel, on the Pasta to Go channel. That is also a WBAI show, and it's on the Internet News Media Network. I think that's what it's called. I forgot it. the Gary Knowles independent news channel, radio show on the internet. It's called Uncontrolled Oppositions with Professor Jeremy Kuzmarov. And why is that blinking now? Do you see that?
This? I saw the blink. What the hell's going on?
I don't know. But right here looks like a good spot to settle in on. So, well, hopefully I'll be fine. But that was weird. And Scott Ritter was talking, and it was something I wanted to bring to the show today. I told you that Scott Ritter had talked. He was questioned from Gloria about who's pretty much pulling the strings, and he came out the gate talking about Israel. And then he had to reword himself, and he had said it's a faction within the United States that weaponizes and uses it in a way for its own greater good. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a cabal of sorts together. But it was interesting because I think that, the statement that Gloria read was from a professor who was like, kind of refocusing the energy. And it made me think about the protests in the streets, which the protests in the streets were about Israel stop bombing Gaza, where that was the wrong message. It should have been United States stop arming Israel, right? Like we don't even have to deal with Israel if we get the United States straight. If we hold them to the marketing of America first and not having lobbyists or giving money elsewhere, right? It was that kind of mentality. And it was a really good conversation because I do think that it's a slippery slope. I don't think somebody's necessarily right or wrong when they say Israel, but actually who's controlling it, who's weaponizing, who's benefiting from it, the whole 9 yards. And the fear I have, and the fear that me and Fiorella both have, is that, America's almost being made to look like as a victim. It's being controlled completely by Israel and doing its bidding, while those power in America are making ridiculous amounts of money. And the behavior of Israel right now is almost mimicking the same behavior that we had with the Indians when we wiped them off the planet. So it seems like they're walking hand in hand, and it's just a bunch of oligarchs, right? There's no such thing as nation states. It's a bunch of oligarchs just controlling everything. And it's quite crazy. So I think it is good to call it the Epstein class or the Epstein coalition or the Epstein empire or I don't like the Epstein administration because other administrations were going along with Epstein, despite what Bill or Hillary said the other day. I think this is a complete capture of oligarchs doing what they need to do, of oligarchs oligarching, if that makes any sense.
I don't think we need to spend too much time worrying that if we call out this virus that's infected our entire structure of everything, by the way, everything, right? We're talking not just Washington, D.C. We're talking the entertainment industry. We're talking the education system. We're talking the banks. We're talking the churches. It's on and on. I think that if we take too much time worrying about, are we letting American leaders off the hook if we call out this capture? No, we're not. If anybody tries to do that, we just call them out. Like, why is nobody's innocent in this equation? But my worry is the opposite, Craig. I don't want to tippy toe around it because of this fear that someone's going to that Trump and team are going to get away with being innocent victims. I don't have to waste time with that. They're all guilty. Yeah. So if we recognize they're all guilty, we can be more honest and louder and not have to tippy toe around. We're doing cover for Trump because we recognize he's literally on a marionette being controlled by Netanyahu. Can't we just say both at the same time?
No, because he's not. No, you can't say both because you said he's being controlled by Netanyahu. I don't believe he's being controlled by Netanyahu. I believe that whole apparatus is controlling everything.
So you believe
Sean, that's why I'm saying.
Hannity. You believe Sean Hannity when he brings Netanyahu on to tell his viewers, hey guys, we got Netanyahu himself to laugh along and say, Trump's doing everything on his own. Nothing to do with me here.
That's the opposite of exactly what I just said, Matt. Okay. The opposite. I said they're both being controlled.
They're both being controlled.
Trump had free will. Why is this happening to my fucking camera?
I don't know.
They're both being controlled. There's a cabal controlling them, not Donald Trump making free choices. Hold on. Let me try to fix this.
Okay. Well, while you're fixing that, if that's actually what you're saying, that they're both
that's exactly what
being controlled, then aren't you then, if you're going to apply this, you're worried that someone's getting off the hook here? You said you and Fee are worried that someone's getting off the hook. Wouldn't then you be doubling down on the fact that if you're saying they're all on puppet strings, then they're all getting off the hook? Wouldn't that align with your theory? If Netanyahu's also on strings? I mean, I'm just trying to be consistent. I'm trying to be consistent with your theory.
It doesn't make sense to me, the question you're asking. I don't know what you're saying.
You're saying that I'm just reiterating. You said you and Fee are worried that by talking about puppet strings with Trump and gang, that they might be let off the hook. But
no, America as a whole.
Whatever. It's Trump, America, anybody that is representing our country and our flag.
Yes.
You're worried that they might be let off the hook if we talk about puppet strings. But yet you're also saying that Netanyahu's on puppet strings. So wouldn't it then, to be consistent with that theory, that you might be worried that people will be let off the hook, then wouldn't we apply that to Netanyahu too and say, if we discover there's a machine controlling all of it, then they're all going to be let off the hook. Wouldn't you then be worried about that too? I'm just trying to be consistent with your argument.
I don't know what you want me to do. You want me to prove a negative? I never said that. All I said is that and listen closely, that America, right, is almost being looked at from a certain point of view, from a certain group of people who want to push this narrative that it's Israel controlling everything, the Candace Owens, the Jake Shields, I'd even throw James Lee into that argument too as well, just to be consistent that it's not just conservatives. There's people on the left too as well who look at it as Israel is pulling the strings, and they almost kind of present America as a victim being controlled by this entity, right? Meanwhile, it's a circular financial ring. It's going back and forth. Congress funds fucking, Israel to the T. Those people come back and give money to the people in Congress, right? It comes right back to us, and it's a circular what's the word? Mechanism that feeds everybody, right? So what I'm trying to say is that there are people in power who weaponize the Israel situation to also get what they want. It's not Israel pulling the strings. It's people that sit above Israel in the United States who are manipulating the strings together. But there are people out there who act as if almost if America were to solve its issue, which is Israel, which is what I'm saying is not the issue. The issue is those who control and weaponize Israel in the United States. That's the issue that sits above it. Therefore, if we just were to get rid of this, like let's say if we were to end AIPAC lobbyists, we were to cut ties and stop funding Israel tomorrow, would that solve everything? No, because at the very least, even what we don't know or do know is that they've acted as accomplices, and they're just as guilty. So it's correcting the whole system itself, not just correcting what happens with the pro-Zionist nation.
Hey, I'll tell you, look, man, I'm all in. You people watching, they know we're all in on going down rabbit holes of who's controlling what puppet strings, who's controlling those puppet strings, who's controlling those. We love all the work. Jay Scott's brought to the table. We were, been looking at Professor Jang. We look at the Freemason, rabbit hole there. We understand that, the creation of Zionism that goes well before anybody said the word Israel. So there's this idea, that we are open to that. So we're not, no one's locking in and saying this is the bad guys, Netanyahu, and that's the end of the investigation.
Nobody's saying you're really locking in, but people had stated that that's the bigger brother.
It's
yourself included.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's
right.
There's
so I'm not saying that you're locking in. This is where the disagreement lies.
It's an obvious assessment that if you have two brothers, if you can call them brothers,
what seems as obvious sometimes is not the truth, Matt. It's once again. Okay. It's what they want us to see. Right. That's obvious.
Yeah. Okay.
That might be manipulation.
We're the ones with sleeper cells in Israel ready to detonate. Right. We're the ones that buy off politicians in
Never
Israel.
Said any of that.
We're the ones that put U.S. spyware into Israeli governments. We're the ones who pass censorship laws against talking shit on America. We put that.
No, we're the ones Israel. Who have our bombs dropped. It's our American Western companies that make a shit ton of money when the bombs are dropped, right? It's Western companies that come in that help rebuild those countries when we blow the shit out of them. Once again, they walk hand in hand. Two things can be true at the same time. All those things you said could be true, what Israel does to the United States, and that's shown to us. Sure. Why is it so open and obvious and shown to us? I don't trust that. I don't believe that, right? So I am one of those guys who a lot of people, if everybody's betting on one thing, I might look at the other option because I think a lot of people are being misled by what they think is the obvious.
Sure.
So
okay,
both things can be true at one time.
Well, if I see a video, I'll rethink it. If I can see one video of an Israeli congressperson being cornered in a hallway, and you ask them, who do you put first? Who's first, Israel or America?
It still doesn't make a difference. That doesn't tell you who's pulling the strings.
And walk away. Then I'm going to be
that doesn't mean it's pulling the strings. Once again, you're stating the obvious.
Yeah.
What they want you to believe, you are believing. That's all I'm saying. That we have to look past that sometimes. Like for instance, the other day, Iran shot a $250,000 ballistic missile towards Israel. The United States launched 8 Patriot missiles to knock it down. Those were $40 million worth of Patriot missiles. That's an American company who owns them missiles. They made a lot of money on that too, right? So they could be walking hand in hand. One hand washes the other. And in fact, I think they would be happy with the fact that you're yelling, Israel, stop bombing Gaza, rather than saying, America, stop funding Israel. Stop weaponizing Israel. Stop giving them weapons. Those people over here in America would be way more pissed than the fact that you're just yelling at Israel to stop using the bombs. Because guess what? They were able to give them the bombs and sell them the bombs. They still made their money.
Yeah. Well, however we look at it, I do think we can agree that we're at a very significant point in time where there's people that never thought twice about this at all. They deflected any talk about that we've been captured or that we're not working on, that the people that we vote in office aren't actually working on behalf of their constituents. So people are seeing that for the first time now, and that's a good thing. So I think just as much of these conversations we can have, as loud as we can get, that's what it's about. So I do think that's the important part.
The thing is that we're all consumed with all these other talks, other situations going on, other issues, other crazy scandals, everything circulating. The system's still in play. There was an election the other day. There was a primary, and it was still about Republicans and Democrats. That's the sad point to me that's being put on right now. You're still having two tribes making the decision, and the majority of the networks were covering that. because that's what's important to them. Though one side wants the Democrats in, the other side wants the Republicans. They still act if there's no way out of this, that it's got to be yin or yang. And that's where are the libertarians at? Where are the Greens? They got nobody on the ballots to challenge any of these people or at least make a noise. I mean, it's just sad because we do not have a third party that's worthy of anything in the United States whatsoever. I mean, if you're a Green Party chair or state chair or whatever and stuff, if you're in Texas, you're not getting a Green that's going to get some noise and get on the ballot while you had Tallarico and Crockett going at it. That person should have been Jose Vega and everything, and make sure people knew there was a third party on that ballot, and I'm sure there might have been a third party on that ballot, but the fact that we don't know, it hasn't come across our radar in the independent media as lefties or homeless lefts, they're not doing a good job. And that's the thing that really sucks, is that everybody's capitulated back into the same system.
Yeah. All right. Let's on that note,
that's a good
one. We can get into our first segment today. We like to start off every Thursday show, our final show of the week, with a little top censored news. I think we're all set up. I just got to check because we did have that little StreamYard issue earlier. Thank you guys all for joining and being part of the Homeless Left. I'm Matt Weinglass. This is Craig Pasta Jardula. We'll be here with you guys all through the afternoon. We're going to be bringing in Jay Scott a little later in the show as well. And we're talking about we're talking the stuff that the mainstream media doesn't cover. That's what this next segment's about. You guys know it. You love it. It's top censored news time. Here we go. Uncanceled Comedy Collective presents Top Censored News of the Week. It's Top Censored News of the Week. We're bringing you the stories the mainstream media just refuses to cover. If they do cover them, they always do it in a very sloppy or dishonest way, and it's always on purpose. I'm here with Pasta, and we're going to be looking at the top 3 stories that you may have missed or got confused about. We're here to set the record straight. Coming in at number 3, Israeli influencers are suing the Israeli government for non-payment. Interesting. I wonder what that payment was, what those payments were for. Well, we know what those payments were about because we've been covering this since this whole thing started to unfold. So let's start from the top of this story. Well, this is the news that we discovered in the last couple of days here. The Israelis' online propaganda network unravels as influencers sue Tel Aviv over unpaid contract. Something about a $7,000 per tweet thing. I thought they were set. They were really excited about that. Are they not getting their money? What's going on? Well, it looks like Israel's global propaganda machine is facing increasing legal pressure after influencers, consultants, and media companies filed lawsuits worth millions against the government, accusing it of failing to pay for work done in support of its international messaging campaign during Israel's genocide in Gaza. Well, according to the Catalyst, many of the individuals involved say they were urgently recruited at the height of the war to promote Israeli narratives abroad, only to later discover that the government had not secured proper payment arrangements. Investigations have since uncovered serious irregularities inside the Prime Minister's office, which took over Israel's international messaging apparatus after the collapse of the Ministry of Information following Operation Al-Qasa flood in October of 2023. This was what we were referring to, the 7,000. You guys know about the 7K per influencer post. This was Netanyahu when he brought the community. He brought a whole community together. They all got together and he taught a little class about how capturing social media works. If you guys need a refresher, let's take a look at that one right now. This actually happened. This is Netanyahu educating his team about capturing TikTok and how essential they would be in his operation.
Back. How do we fight back? Our influencers. I think you should also talk to them if you have a chance. To that community, they're very important. And secondly, we're going to have to use the tools of battle. You know, the weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well. Okay. And you can't fight with cavalry. That doesn't work very well. And you have these new things, like drones, things like that. I won't get into that. But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is TikTok. TikTok, number one.
He calls them class. Come on, class. Who knows the answer? Oh my God, this guy.
Number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one that's most important? X. That's very good. And, so we have to talk to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend. We should talk to him.
We got to talk to our friend Elon, and I guess they're still talking over there. But yeah, the TikTok thing went through. We know that's done. And then we had a mass exodus of TikTok and over to the Upscrolled app was what a lot of people ended up going to. We haven't started an account there yet. But hey, look, this influencer chimed in and said, hey, I got paid, LOL. It's not 7K a post, but I got paid for every Israel mention. Even the troll posts are paid. What the F is she talking about? Oh, she's admitting that the whole thing is this scam, elaborate scam, and she's actually admitting that she has done troll posts. Well, that's very honest, I guess. That's shockingly honest of her, but she probably is not aware of how incriminating that is. But let's look a little closer at how this thing went down, and we want to give a shout out here to Gen X Girl. So this was the lawsuits that were filed for Israeli non-payment. It seems like we only, at this point in time, it might have changed since, but we only have one actual person that at least Gen X Girl was able to report on that is on the lawsuit. The other ones aren't exposing. So we don't know exactly who's on the lawsuit except for this guy, Elon A. Levy. So the lawsuits are equaling millions, have been filed against the Israeli government for stiffing their paid influencers. Among these was this guy, Elon A. Levy. Israel also flew paid protesters to The Hague to protest against the pro-Palestinian protesters during the ICJ hearings. And this is the lawsuit broken down. And there's apparently the government's in chaos. They're in panic right now. How are they going to respond to this? This is just one of the examples. It looks like one of the lawsuits says that Netanyahu's office acts like a freeloader and doesn't have to pay. So they're trying to push back and say we don't have to do this. We never mind. That's too bad for the influencers. But this is that guy, Levy. He's the one that we know of as of now that is pushing to get his fair share of the pie because he did the thing he said he would do. This is like the criminals aren't getting paid for they're part of the bank, right? When you do the bank robbery, hey, where's my share? Hey, I thought I should get my share here. And so this is just an example, according to Levy. There was the shekels involved were like 41,000, over 41,000. Was initially paid by an external event production, but then at a rate, there was an hourly rate of 250 for 165 hours. That was not paid. So this is also important. If we can discover who these other people are, we need to report these people. So if you guys are interested in participating in this, all the people named in the lawsuit that aren't revealing that they have been the beneficiaries of this payout from the Israeli government, whether they got paid or not. And of course, if you're on the lawsuit, you're saying I didn't get paid, but they have failed. This is an actual law. If the social media influencers fail to disclose that they are being paid for saying it, then the fine can be $50,000 per tweet if they don't reveal it. And this is a disclosure 101 for social media influencers. It breaks it down that you are required by our laws to reveal if you're getting paid for what your activities on social media. You're actually required to announce it publicly. And if you discover anyone out there, just go to this website, fccomplaintsassistant.gov, and you can actually say, hey, this person is not doing it. So just giving you guys something to work with. But that's the story right now. Obviously, the mainstream isn't reporting on it. Pasta, any thoughts on this? Is this
How much do you think is owed completely across the board?
It's hard to say. There's how
much do you think completely?
Completely?
Yeah, completely is owed that they didn't pay.
Whatever millions is. I don't think it's more. Probably upward, maybe 50 million. I don't know. Something
You
like
mean
that.
you think they owe out 50 million that they haven't paid $50 million to influencers out there that they owe money to?
No, you know
million.
what? The lawsuits might acquire that because of the lawyer costs and everything. I don't know what the actual amount that they're saying that they don't. Yeah. But they might be getting hit with those lawsuits at that level.
Let's say I'd say a ridiculously high number is like 10 million.
10 million is ridiculously high.
Like what they would owe.
Okay. So why wouldn't they pay that?
Oh my God,
they could pay that.
They owe 10 million out, right?
So why couldn't they pay that? That's the
Unless
go for it.
Unless they want this shit out there. $10 million to the Israeli government. Netanyahu could probably got $10 million in his couch cushions, right? That he can, here you go, whatnot. These are the things, Matt. These are the things that make me very suspicious. It's like, that makes no sense. Why would they want that out there? If they were trying to hide that and to be secretive about paying people, they would have paid out that fucking money and never let a lawsuit come. As soon as a lawyer would have been like, hey, man, we're going to have a lawsuit against you. It's going to go viral out there. People are going to find this out, especially online. Pay us the money or else.
No, I don't think you're. I don't think you're fully thinking like a Zionist. I don't think it. So the mentality is, I can do whatever the F I want and there's no consequences. I can always talk my way out of it because the mindset of a Zionist is not right versus wrong, not moral versus immoral. It's, can I win this fight? Winning is the only thing that matters. You can win by what? By having the powerful position that you know nothing will happen to you. You can always lie, cheat, steal, and maneuver. And then there's also this smugness about it where it's not that you want to make anyone look. If you would listen, when you started up that program to begin with in the first place, why did you start it up? Why were you secretly paying influencers to write stories about that? Right? You had an objective out there to whitewash what was going on. Right? Why would you still give up that objective just to pay that little money? Why all of a sudden, because it's already been out there? Because Netanyahu had a camera on him while he was telling good class, hey everyone, good job. You know what this 8-front war is about. It's about how he's saying it out loud because he doesn't give an F, because he knows there's no consequences to it. And he knows that people scrolling through their social media are going to believe this garbage when these idiots put out their stupid tweets. He knows it's going to be effective, and he doesn't have to hide it.
It seems like to me that he would rather, if they were really, this is something they wanted out there once again. There's so many incidences of this all the time where it makes you go, look at him, fucking Israel, it's Israel. It's like, it reminds me of, like I mentioned the bank robber analogy earlier. I'm actually thinking about the Joker character, the Dark Knight, like he just shoots everybody in the back when they did, hey, I did the thing, boss. I did oh yeah, we're done with you. Bam, bam. And then he burns the money anyways, right? So there's something about this attitude of, but he was much more nefarious and sinister. He got one guy to shoot the next guy, that guy to shoot the next guy, that guy to shoot the next guy. He was a mastermind. And then he shot he didn't even shoot the last guy. He shot the bus driver. But then he burns the money. So that's the other thing. Yeah. So this is what we're trying to get in the mind of this. Like, he did it because he wanted to piss off the mob and get them mad, right? Like he wanted to show them who he was the new boss. But I mean, he didn't give. There's a lot more motivation behind it just to get it and burn it. It was, So there's something. So it's hard for us to get. We're coming from a rational, like, why would he do this? What is he trying? It's like, no, it's just I'm just a dog chasing a car. I don't know what I'd do if I got to the car. If I caught it, If I caught, I don't know what to do. Great movie, by the way. Yeah. Probably the best superhero movie of all time, I'd say. The Dark Knight. Maybe. It's up there. Maybe. I think it got overhyped. I think I'll tell you, from appreciation and actually doing the acting, I'll tell you this. You might not hear this too often about Heath Ledger's performance. I will say, as devil's advocate, one goal that other actors might have is
to not have you be so damn aware of how much work and effort and pain and that he went through, that another approach as an actor might be that the audience actually looks at the performance and goes, he made it look easy. And he didn't. He made it look really hard. You want to see a villain that makes it look easy? Go watch Anthony Hopkins in Hannibal, in the first Silence of the Lambs as Hannibal, and he makes it look easy. When you watch Heath Ledger, it looks hard and it's exhausting, and you can feel the torture and the torment. I'm just saying, as devil's advocate, it might not be, in that context, might not be the best experience for an audience member, even if it was an incredible performance. What if an audience just wants to have a good time and not think about the torture part of it behind the scenes? That's all. That's all I'm saying.
You know, it's kind of crazy because you said a lot of people say that, and you're right. He did make it look really hard, and I did definitely think it was a great performance.
Yeah.
But I really didn't. It's great. My perspective is I didn't credit him for the great performance as much as I credited who wrote it.
Nolan. Yeah.
As I credit, I'm like, that was written beautifully. I thought the way it was written was great, because I often thought, like, when people say, "Oh, that's the best Joker they ever seen," I'm like, I don't know. When I see Jack Nicholson in the cheesy movies, I just see the Joker. Like when that's who the Joker is. It wasn't written in a dark way. It had its dark scenes to the eye cinematically. And I think you credit a lot of the DP for that, for those performances and stuff. The way everything looked, the set directing and the sign and the building and all that shit. But Jack Nicholson is like the Joker to me. Like, I mean, and I'm a big fan. Was it Burgess? No, it wasn't Burgess Meredith. Burgess Meredith played the Penguin.
The Penguin, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the Joker and those TV series were good too as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was the way it was written. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. The Dark Knight to me, even though it's crazy, is more believable, I guess, of a movie than the other ones were, the Tim Burton ones.
Unfortunately, the third part of the trilogy just went like that.
You're talking about with Bane.
Yeah, it was like too many pages. They tried to tighten it. It was too long. It was like two films in one. They couldn't figure out what to do. Should we acknowledge that the Joker even exists? We're going to replace him. What do we do? Let's pretend he never existed. It was weird. They should have had more of the Joker going around and the different masks. He should have been in the film. That would have been great. Have like different masks of people. You didn't know if he was still alive or not. And that would have been pretty awesome. But he decided, let's just pretend he's not. We won't even mention him. It's a little weird. In respect to Heath, right? Or like, let's not mention the character. I was like, that's weird. You gotta do something about that you lost.
Was he already dead though?
Yes,
in the end of the Dark Knight, we don't know if he died or not. So that's why, I guess, right?
No, he was going to be. I'm telling you, he was supposed to be in the film. That's the point.
Yeah.
Yes. So we had to work it out, like write him out, because it was like, oh, do we recast? We can't recast. That's insulting to him. What do we do? Should we have him die and see the character be? No, he just wasn't referenced. It was like, let's just pretend he doesn't. It's weird. It was weird. Doesn't make sense. Anyways, enough of that stuff. Let's get on to the next story. Top censored news of the week coming in at number 2.
Nolan never brought the Penguin.
Okay, you want to keep talking Batman? I'm trying to get on with the show.
I know. Like,
what are we doing here?
You got me thinking though now. Like, why did you do that to me?
No, okay. All right. I was making an analogy about the bank robbing, and now we're talking about scripts and acting. Okay. And
you're a Hollywood guy. What am I not supposed to talk to you about it?
You should wait for This Week in Hollywood, and we'll do it.
Gotcha. I'll put it on pause.
We're not doing that today. We'll do it next week. We'll do it next week. Not today.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Back to top censor news of the week. Coming in at number 2, Mossad agents arrested in Qatar for plotting false flag operation. Now, we covered this thing a little bit on Tuesday, but we didn't have the full proof about it. So we did want to bring up the fact that Tucker was the first to report on this. So let's look at that initial. So Atomy Media says breaking Israeli false flags have been foiled. Tucker has revealed that Qatar and Saudi Arabia caught Mossad agents planting bombs to massacre locals. Israel's trying to start a larger war. It is a parasite in the region. It's time to let it loose. Here is friend of the show, Nico House, is going to break it down for us. Take it away. This is on Hotspot. Here we go.
Arabia and Qatar allegedly arrested Mossad agents who were trying to bomb their country. Tucker Carlson dropped a bomb on us when he revealed that both Qatar and Saudi Arabia arrested Israeli Mossad agents who were trying to bomb their country, presumably in order to blame Iran.
In Qatar and Saudi Arabia, authorities arrested Mossad agents planning on committing bombings in those countries. Now, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. Why would the Israelis be committing bombings in two Gulf countries, which are also being attacked by Iran? Aren't they on the same side? No. Israel wants to hurt Iran and Qatar and UAE and Saudi and Bahrain and Oman and Kuwait. Now, that wasn't a risk from the Israeli standpoint. That was the point.
And of course, he makes the argument, like many of us make, that this isn't just about blaming Iran, it's actually about destabilizing said nations. And considering Mike Huckabee made it perfectly clear that Israel's aim and their quote-unquote right is to take over basically all of the Middle East.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me, with respect, to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
Should any of us be surprised by this? And the fact that Israel doesn't have a habit of attacking only its allies, but the allies of the US as well, when necessary. I mean, this is the same country that kills its own people when they feel it's necessary. So this isn't really that insane of a notion. But when you think about it, it actually makes perfect sense. Because Saudi Arabia had to shut down Aramco, the largest oil facility in the world, the most influential in the world, because of a bombing that took place where they initially blamed Iran. Except Iran has come out and flatly denied involvement with the attack on that oil field.
Okay, we'll stop.
Didn't they blame Yemen? Wasn't Yemen the culprit, I believe? For Saudi Aramco? I thought it was Yemen. I could be way off.
No, they have to be careful about what they say out loud. And I have other examples of other ones that they're not allowed to really say who did it. Here's one. Here, look what happened in the UK. UK says the drone targeting the British airbase in Cyprus did not originate from Iran. They won't say where it did come from, but they just needed to say it wasn't Iran. Very interesting, right? You can't really say the actual thing in that regard. And I think the same thing happened here in Turkey. Iran denies firing a missile towards Turkey after NATO interception. And that's also important because Iran always takes credit for every one of their bombings. They're not, so when they say we did not do that, that's something to also look at. So there's these discrepancies all over the place. And look, I just want to back up. This is not just Tucker Carlson reporting on it and Nico House elaborating on it. There's other people coming out and verifying this. There was an actual well, let's take a look here. This just came out about this this morning. This is a Saudi expert who confirms the arrest of the Mossad agents in Saudi Arabia. They were planning a false flag bombings to drag them into war with Iran. Israel's self-defense always means making everyone else fight their war. Here's a clip of it. It gets a little heated, but you can listen to the dude. He's telling us this is confirmed.
I'm not sorry about being an Israeli.
Saudi Arabia has captured 2 Mossad agents. Qatar has captured 2 Mossad agents, and now they are in custody. Okay, and they are planning bombing here. The killing of and the assassination of
here.
the Mossad.
Where is here? Remind me. Here.
And he had a bad connection there, but that did get aired. That's there it is. So there's more. It's not, just to be clear, it's not just coming from a speculation of a podcast.
Yeah. No doubt.
We know how they do that. And by the way, Jerusalem Post loves to do these little smears on Tucker, right? Just that, hey, just so you know, this podcaster is just making stuff up, blah blah blah. Qatar denies it, but we just heard Qatar specialist confirm it. So so here we are. We can debate it all we want, but I'm just letting you know there's a method in place that Israel has to stir stuff up. It's kind of the thing is you get your enemies to fight each other, and then you laugh about it. There's a history of that of these false flags. So
there's the USS Liberty, right, which they tried to bomb and sink the American ship. So therefore, supposedly, America would be pulled into that 7-day war anyways, and go after Egypt, right? I think that was the mentality for that. And the crazy thing is that when Johnson was notified right away, he immediately shut it down. And a lot of people couldn't understand what was going on. Was he that subservient to, Israel and the Mossad, or was it the fact that he was in on it himself? There's a guy who wrote a book who, kind of looked at him as being so close to the CIA or whatever the case may be, or connections to it, that the fact that, they were a part of the whole thing. And this often makes me think about, once again, we start talking about, who's pulling the strings too as well, and how is it connected? Mike Huckabee, right? Mike Huckabee, who was the Kansas representative in the House for 6 years in early, I think, 2010 to 2016, before he went on to be the head of the CIA. And then, of course, Secretary of State for Donald Trump and whatnot, when he makes those tweets, I think it was happy birthday or Merry Christmas or Happy New Year to all those people marching in the streets in Iran, including the Mossad agents marching next to them, right? It's like, so many, once again, if this happens and the United States is brought into a broader war, everybody gets to eat, and at the end of the day, you can't deny that the empire, Israel itself, and the United States, they want more war. We're pushing for more war. More money is made by those elite groups no matter what. So, I don't doubt this for 1 second over here that they were caught and whatnot. This is not a hoax story. This is something that's true. But for those people to go and justify war to their constituents, they need events and false flags to take place so they can then justify spending billions and trillions of dollars blowing up and killing babies all across the world.
Yeah. All right.
Gives them exactly what they need.
It does.
Gives them exactly
they can count on the Western media to stay in line and not actually report on this. And that's the point. And that's their cover. And they get that the whole way. They get that cover. That's like locked in, right? Which is why we have to do what we're doing here and give you guys the top censor news. So let's move to the number one story. This one is this would have slipped by us, but we did a little thing on this on Tuesday. There was this tech war going on, and you guys saw. So Palantir now has gotten involved with this, but so the story is now, and we'll catch you guys up if you missed it. But Palantir, their CEO, has put out an expose, and what that is doing is it's heightening the AI tech battle into an all-out war against humanity. And let's walk this through, guys, because this is all happening in the last week. There's been a conflict straight through the second half of February. The company. Well, let's just remind you here. So this is what we reported on Tuesday. That it was Anthropic, their app, their AI app, which is called Claude, right? Mm-hmm. They had this arrangement with the government that they were bought by the Pentagon. Their app actually was said to be the only one that they could utilize. And what does the Pentagon need the AI for? To use for weaponry and autonomous weapons of like basically Terminator 2 robots that they were going to unleash on the public. Not us. That was the idea. Anthropic was okay with it when it wasn't on us. As soon as the Pentagon crossed the line of, hey, we're also going to bring this to the homeland, right? To the home front, to us. This is the thing. This is what Palantir could have told you. OpenAI could have told you. Sam Altman could have told you. Larry Ellison could have told you that. But apparently Anthropic didn't get the memo until it was too late. So what Anthropic does is their CEO goes into the Pentagon, walks right up to Pete Hegseth and says, we're not okay with this. Our safety measures aren't in play for you guys to make Terminator 2 robots and put them out there because there's no safety precaution. It's not going to work. It's not going to go well for humanity. Well, what happens next? So Trump goes off the rails on these guys and says, these guys are enemies of the state. Don't ever work with them again. Problem is, they have to work with them for another 6 months. They're locked into 6 months. So as soon as they said, we're done with these guys after 6 months, who's going to get the next contract? Well, that was OpenAI. They immediately came in and got the contract after Anthropic went down. So this is catching you guys up till right now. There's Sam Altman coming in for the kill. He's trying to play both sides. He's saying, oh, we understand. We're cool with Anthropic. We get it. The safety precautions weren't there. However, we're ready to do this, even though OpenAI has less safety precautions. That's just to be clear on the scale of how bad it is. They're not even going to be able to handle it. So 6 months from now, this is going to be a major, major disaster by OpenAI. And I know there's a campaign going around for people to bail on OpenAI. You should probably get rid of your ChatGPT. There's free classes right now. If you guys want to learn about Claude, they're offering for free. We're not promoting it, but if you want to look into that, it's $0. You guys can figure out how to do Claude. Get rid of your. So that was the story on Tuesday. Now we've elevated, and this is why this is the number one story of the week for Top Censored News, is now we have Palantir getting involved. And you guys know how bad we know about Alex Karp. We know about Peter Thiel. We know that these guys are literally about unleashing Terminator 2 robots on not just enemies abroad, on journalists, on social media people, on people right here. And they're gonna do it. They can't wait. They're salivating over it. So they get involved. And let's go to this actual. We're gonna read a little of this. This is long and it's winded, but there's something here. Let me see if I can. I always have a hard time bringing this. Okay, here we go. So this is the CEO. His name is Peter Gurnas, and Peter Gurnas says, and this is like, think of this like a Jerry Maguire of tech. This is Jerry. He believes this. He's like the opening of Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire. I'm going to tell everyone what it is. I'm going to tell you exactly how it works, and I just need to put these words out. So this is his little manifest, not manifesto, but a little expose, right? I'm going to tell you. So he's saying the company is worth $250 billion. I did not misspeak. $249 billion. The stock is up 320% in the past 12 months. The product is surveillance. I do not use that word at conferences. At conferences, I say data integration, operational intelligence, or decision advantage. These mean the same thing. Surveillance is the honest version. I save the honest version for rooms where honesty is a competitive advantage. I gave a speech on March 3rd at an Andreessen Horowitz American Dynamism Summit. It's the fund's label for military technology. The name makes it sound like a fitness supplement. The fund's thesis is that defending the nation is a market opportunity. I agree with the thesis. The thesis made me a billionaire. Agreement is the product I sell at scale. Here's what I said verbatim in a room of 600 people whose combined net worth exceeds the GDP of Portugal. If Silicon Valley believes we're going to take away everyone's white-collar job and you're going to screw the military, if you don't think that's going to lead to nationalization of our technology, you're retarded. I use that word. The word is on the clip. The clip has 11 million views. My communications team asked me not to repeat it, which is how I know that they're still employed. They will not be reprimanded. The clip is performing well. The stock went up. The word cost me nothing. The nothing is the point. Let me explain what I meant by nationalization. I meant it. I'm telling the technology industry that if they refuse to cooperate with the U.S. military, the government will seize their technology. I'm telling them this at a venture capital conference on a stage designed to look like a living room. The living room had throw pillows. The throw pillows cost more than the median American's monthly rent. I sat on one. It was comfortable. Comfort is the setting in which I discuss compulsion. The audience laughed. I want to be precise about that. They laughed. I was not joking. Nationalization is a seizure of private assets by the state. I am a private asset. I'm telling an audience of billionaires that the state should seize technology from companies that do not cooperate with the military. And the billionaires are laughing because they believe I'm only talking about the other companies. I'm actually talking about other companies. 3 weeks before my speech, the Pentagon designed Anthropic they designated Anthropic a supply chain risk. Anthropic is an AI company. They had red lines. The red line said, if our AI is used for lethal autonomous weapons, we stop. If capability outpaces safety, we stop. The Pentagon assessed the red lines as a threat to the supply chain. The company that wanted to verify the safety feature worked was designated the risk. The company that agreed the safety feature could be decorative got the contract. So in there, he's talking about OpenAI. That's it. He walked right in and got this contract because he said, yeah, I will go along with you. Safety is just a decorative element. We don't give an F. OpenAI signed a deal with the same Pentagon. The terms are not public. The timing was hours after Anthropic was blacklisted. The speed was noted. The speed was the point. The lesson was the speed. The market for military AI does not pause for ethics. It pauses for nothing. It accelerates through objections. I know this because I built the runway. 200,000 people joined a campaign called Quit GPT. That's the hashtag. Said the company existed to benefit humanity. The charter is on their website. The contract is also on their website. The charter and the Pentagon contract occupy the same domain. This is not a contradiction. This is a business model. The charter is the marketing. The contract is the product. I run a surveillance company. We have contracts with the Department of Defense worth more than $1 billion. We have contracts with ICE. No shit. We have contracts with intelligence agencies whose names I am not permitted to say at venture capital conferences, even ones with throw pillows. Our software has been used to track undocumented immigrants. Our software has been used for things I'm not permitted to describe in this format. The revenue from the things I cannot describe exceed the revenue from the things I can. Okay, this goes on. Do you want to chime in? Are you seeing this?
No, I'm listening, and I need you to educate me more on it as we go through this and stuff, because I'm trying to understand what's going on.
Okay.
The nationalization of AI, it seems like what's going on is that they can just seize anything at any time.
Right. Well, and that's what we learned about that Pete Hegseth went off on Anthropic and said, you pieces of shit. You can't stand up to us. We're in charge. And so obviously people are upset about that. What this guy is saying, what Palantir is saying is none of that. That doesn't matter. It's inevitable. He's saying it's inevitable. It doesn't matter how many company ethic rules you put in place. It doesn't matter how you go in and you do the right thing. He says that this is how it works. He's basically telling us the Terminator 2 model of Skynet is inevitable, and it's happening, and either you're going to make $1 billion off of it or you're going to end up in a John Connor resistance movement. You choose. That's what he's saying.
Is he saying that because once the AI just has no safeguards on it, it just goes crazy?
Well, he's missing that part, because this is when we talk about a war against humanity. What he's doing, he's saying the business model doesn't care if humans are going to live or not. This is the psychoticness of the tech bro industry. He's not talking to us as a human being. That's what I'm getting at. Gotcha. He's not talking to us as a human being. He's talking to us as a robot. This is actually probably words. It's clear to me, and maybe I shouldn't have made the Jerry Maguire reference, because that was a 1990s film where a human being sat down with a computer or a word processor at the time, because it was like, and he typed out the thing that came from his heart, and he dropped a hard copy into everybody's mailbox, and he thought he was, but that's not what this guy did. I think this is completely AI that wrote this. Yeah. He knew exactly what needed to be said, and he doesn't even need to put any human element into it. He's saying the humanity doesn't actually matter, and if you don't get that, then you will be left on the sideline. So he's saying Anthropic fucked up. And if anybody else thinks they're going to put their little company charter ahead of what military is going to do, because military is going to win, and you will either be on board and get your billionaire piece of the pie, or you won't, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to end up like Anthropic. That's what he's saying. So there's a lot of people sharing this out. And this, I would suggest people to go to this. It's very, very long. He continues with, but that's the thesis. That's what his manifesto is about. I don't give a shit about humanity. That's what he's saying. Okay. It's very dark. It's very grim. People that are sharing this out on Twitter right now are championing this idea. They think the guy's a genius, and they're missing the part about we're voluntarily walking away from humanity and high-fiving this guy for being so freaking honest. That's what people are doing right now. It's effing scary. I'm not going to end this segment with just this dark, nihilistic, humanity's done, just embrace the robot shit. There was some pushback. So let's at least put that up so you guys know that he's not getting high fives from everyone. This is important. So according to this interpretation, this would be the humanity side of the interpretation. Anthropic CEO just ended OpenAI by revealing this psychotic, void of human, kind of approach to the military, tech capture, basically. He's saying, after getting blacklisted by Pentagon, this guy, Dario, he sits down and writes the most unhinged CEO memo in Silicon Valley history. Calls OpenAI's Pentagon deal a safety theater. Says Trump admin hates them because they haven't given dictator-style praise to Trump, while Sam has, which he has, obviously, because that's the business Sam Altman's in. Names Greg Brockman, his $25 million Trump super PAC donation by name, says they supported AI regulation. So he goes to a list of all the things that he's saying make him be the enemy of the people. And it's so the Palantir expose reveals Palantir's actual pitch to Anthropic during negotiations. You have some unhappy employees. You need to offer them something that placates them or makes what is happening invisible to them. And that's a service we provide. Palantir's pitch wasn't safety. It was concealment. And he admitted to that. He says, we're not about safety. We're about the bait and switch of what's on your company website to what's actually happening. He says it's not contradiction. That is the model. The model is the contradiction, which is what is being interpreted as concealment, even though it's actually not. We're actually seeing it. He's actually saying it all out loud. It's right in front of us. So moving on with this, I won't spend too much time with this, but the point is what this expose has done, and that's why this is #1 story of the week of Top Censor News. The Palantir expose ultimately, and we could spend hours on this. I want you guys to go check it out yourself. Go check it out. But ultimately, my cliff notes for you guys would be this. The Palantir expose reveals, based on how you respond to it as a human being, are you on the side of humanity or are you on the side of the robots? That's it. He's putting a fine line down. He's saying Team Palantir and OpenAI or Team Anthropic. And if you can maybe look inside yourself and say, where do I fall on this? Am I excited? Which of these tweets am I excited to share out? Because there's certainly a lot of people sharing out the Palantir, I said manifesto, but it's this tell all, right? That's the thing that a lot of people are excited about. Where do you fall? Because this war is on, and that's what this release of this reveal is basically saying. Game on. It's a Terminator 2. This is the beginning of that. That's what's happening here. Is there anything else that's
no, I grasped it. I grasped. I gotta educate myself more on it, obviously. But I gotta look into this story a little bit more. It's very intriguing.
Yeah. I can't believe how many people are sharing this out and saying, man, go Palantir, man. They just are honest. They don't take any bullshit. I'm like, really? Like, go through this thing. It's really long. Like I said, we're not going to go through every part of it, but it's just, wow. He's saying F human beings, F everything. We are tech bros win, AI wins, robots win. You're either with us or you're against us.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's it, guys, for Top Censored News of the week. All right. Okay, let's do this. We got you for a little bit more. We can start doing some Iran coverage. Yeah, you want to do some Iran? Okay, let me do this. I'm gonna set up the next segment because of our earlier got bumped earlier from StreamYard. We're back. Welcome everyone. If you're just joining us, this is the Homeless Left. I'm here with co-host Craig Pasta Jardula. We're going to be right back with some up-to-date Iran coverage and what the hell is going on with the Trump team. They seem to be self-imploding with all their narratives, contradicting each other. It looks like they completely forgot to do the team meeting or the team huddle before launching this war. So we're going to be looking at some of that. And let me just do this. I think appropriately, we have a little Jake GTV video we'll put on in the interim. He made this, Jake GTV made this last summer, and it seems to be pretty relevant right now. So we'll be back in 2 minutes with Iran coverage. And by the way, Jake GTV, who just came back from, I guess he was in Puerto Vallarta and was there for the whole coverage that was happening. Patrick Henningsen was there as well. It sounds like we're going to have an opportunity to talk to him, bring him on the show here at some point. We are in touch. So that's the good news. I know a lot of you guys are fans of Jake GTV. Here's a little AI video he did last June. Seems very relevant today. We'll see you guys back here in just a couple minutes. Here we go.
Breaking news, it turns out that the people carpet bombing the innocent are actually the good guys. Just kidding, that would be retarded. Let's go live to Steinberg.
So you're saying they have weapons of mass destruction again?
Exactly. It's the same excuse we've used since the towers fell. Not much has changed.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get PTSD from hurting the innocent, then we die for the chosen people. Yeah. Let's go, we shouldn't be here.
This non-chosen sand person lost his home and family just hours ago, but Israeli military officials say this is God's plan and questioning it is antiseptic.
Please stop!
I hear they're building a new restaurant in Tel Aviv. The chef prepares an amazing foreskin salad.
This is where I will cook my foreskins. Imported directly from the adrenochrome factory.
I've never tried the foreskin salad.
Sounds satanic.
Right. Probably part of their Talmudic beliefs.
Right.
Shapiro Stein.
I miss 2001, back when we all blamed the same people. Today, everybody notices. This is why we do false flags. We go live to the dancing Israelis.
These people really know how to dance, but the real dancers are on the roof.
We're following these guys up to the top floor. No clue what's going on, but they're moving fast.
Yo, check this out. We are God's chosen people.
Breaking news out of Times Square. Officials say they found a Muslim passport in the debris.
Oh, it was the Jews. Sir, are you okay? I'm sending my son off to Iran tonight.
You saw it from your apartment?
Yeah, right over there. They were just dancing. It didn't look right.
Wow. We better go fund that.
Right? It feels good to personally fund the most grotesque acts of violence. Back to you, Dennis.
Anyways, follow my boy, Jake GTV, if you're not retarded.
Oh, man. That is some harsh stuff. I'm actually curious how Pasta responds to that. Have you
That's
seen
a good
any
one.
Jake GTV
He's
stuff?
doing this all through AI and stuff, and
He does it all AI. He's been doing
That's
this
awesome.
he's done some fun stuff, man. He's working on one right now on the current Iran stuff, and says he will be in touch with us and be wanting to come on and talk about it. Hopefully maybe he can actually premiere his new one on our show. That'd be awesome. We've actually featured a lot of his work. So anyways,
That's great.
Yeah. He was one of the speakers that he spoke at the same event Henningsen was at right when all that shit went down with the whole the whole taking out the cartel.
Wasn't that Anarchopalooza?
Yeah. He was there, yeah, with Henningsen. And then all those Alex Jones people were there too, unfortunately, that were misreporting on that story. Oh God, that was awful.
Oh, there's more information coming out too, as well, going after the cartels again. They're gonna fund a whole new Fugazi war to do that too, as well, in Mexico. So that shit's coming. I just saw something. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Christy Nome got appointed to some type of committee of sorts that meant to go after the cartels. So, she did such a great job with ICE. They're gonna promote her and give her another job to do.
She did such a good job with that. Just she knew right away, Craig. She knew that Renee Good and
Alex
Preddy were domestic terrorists. You could tell right away, right? You could just say, "Hey, we looked into it for 3 seconds." Like Kash Patel likes to look into things. He's like, "We're very speedy. We just know stuff like immediately." So that's probably why she got the appointment. She's like, "Well, she's just really fast. She just knows shit. Knows shit before everyone." Yeah, they all do, apparently. All right. Well, Yeah, I think we're ready to do a little World War III watch. I'm ready to change the title on this because I think we might actually be in it. But that's part of it. That's part of the watch. Is that
we'll just change it to World War III update.
World War III. We're gonna change it to that. But maybe keep the tagline, right? It's well, you guys, if you guys haven't seen it, this is it. We'll just do a little intro. Here we go. It's World War III watch. Let's just face it, we're right in the middle of it, right? So it's a World War III update. I'm Matt Weinglass here with Craig Pasta, Jardula. We're gonna try to look at what is happening right now on the offensive part of things. When we talk about Iran, we've been engaged in this war for less than a week, and it seems like every day there's another problem with this team and their ability to function in any capacity of being on the same page whatsoever. Everything they're doing is contradicting the last thing. Pete Hegseth seems to be the worst of the worst because he's the one that no matter what else is said, he's going to double down and tell us why we're there from his vantage point. Now, there's been 8 or 9 different reasons we're there, but his reason is literally bringing the chaos and the war and the death. And he's going to tell you that in case you thought it was any other reason, democracy or nuclear weapons coming or whatever it is. He's going to let you know, no, we're there because we're bringing the death.
Flying over Tehran, flying over Iran, flying over their capital, flying over the IRGC, Iranian leaders looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it. B-2s, B-52s, B-1s, Predator drones, fighters, controlling the skies, picking targets. Death and destruction from the sky all day long.
Man.
We're playing for keeps. Our warfighters have maximum authorities granted personally by the president and yours.
And another reason that, again, this is obviously very confusing. If you're a MAGA voter and you're like, I thought it was they had nuclear weapons. I thought we're bringing democracy. I thought you told us that Iranians were in the streets wanting to take down their own government and we're there to help them because we care about protesters. Trump told us that. We care about protesters in Iran. We don't care about protesters in Minneapolis, but we care about protesters in Iran. So how does that make any sense if Pete Hegseth is telling us those same Iranians who were, quote unquote, in the street to take down their own government, which we knew they weren't because that was Mossad the whole time. But let's just say that was accurate, which it wasn't. But those same Iranians, you're telling us now, you want them to look up in the sky and see nothing but death and destruction raining on top of their heads. So that's where we are now. This is the Secretary of War. This is what he's saying. I'm going to add this before you chime in, Pasha. I'm going to add in Caroline Levitt, who wants to double down on feelings. Feelings. We get a lot of feelings. Feelings are enough to justify the action because you don't have to show anything. This is a technique Israel uses all the time. We know that the genocide is all about feelings. You can blow up babies because you feel like they might grow up, become terrorists, and then want to kill all the Jews. That's enough. That's enough. A feeling. Check it out. Here she goes.
Had a feeling, again, based on fact, that Iran was going to strike the United States, was going to strike our assets in the region, and he made a determination to launch Operation Epic Fury based on all of those reasons. And
based on all of those feelings is why we launched the attack. So she's letting you know that you don't actually have to make a logical case if you're going off of emotion. And that's what Israel's plan is too. And that's why they've been able to get away with a genocide for 3 years, because you don't have to justify anything if you go on a feeling. Now, here we are. We have reports, though, that there are tensions going on inside. Uh-oh. What's happening here? Well, it looks like tensions are soaring as Hegseth and Rubio are feuding over U.S. troops in Iran. Oh, because we were told, no, boots on the ground are coming. We've actually seen U.S. soldiers shipped out. A lot of them don't want to do this. A lot of them. This is the least enthusiastic military we've ever had. By the way, if you run the numbers, they are the least enthusiastic about getting suited up and being shipped out to their deaths than we've ever seen in any generation of U.S. military. But But the U.S. Secretary of State is warning against deploying troops as Hegseth takes a hawkish turn. I wouldn't say it's a hawkish turn. I think he's always showed us that he's about death and destruction. Tensions are rising between Hegseth and Rubio over the U.S.'s approach to the war on Iran. 3 former U.S. officials and a senior regional officer familiar with the matter told Middle East Eye Rubio and Hegseth were described as at each other's throats
Really?
over the question of whether the U.S. should deploy troops to Iran at Israel's request, the sources told MEE. Hegseth is supportive of the position, while Rubio is deeply wary of entangling the U.S. in a long war, the sources told MEE.
I guessed wrong.
Yeah.
I guess Hegseth was against and Rubio was for. It was the other way around.
The other way. It's the other. U.S. has mainly confined in the operations to airstrikes and standoff strikes using cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. But CNN reported this week that the CIA has begun training and arming Kurdish fighters to operate in Iran. Oh wow! So wow. That's a familiar technique. We've seen that one before. One Gulf official told ME that U.S. officials have discussed sending special operations teams into Iran to target senior Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps officials and people familiar with Iran's nuclear program. So there's a mess here. Both of them have defended the U.S.'s war, obviously, but the Secretary of War has been especially combative. And this is also their, by the way, that's also their technique, is being combative. Anytime journalists with questions about it ask questions, they just attack right back. There's even Caroline Leavitt, where we hear her voice. It's so like, this is the last time I'm gonna tell you. It's this and this and this. They don't know how to talk to us like we're, hey guys, the
Dow is at 50,000. No, sorry.
Yeah, that's the Pam Bondi. Oh man.
They should start screaming every single time they get a hard question.
Yeah. So this is no, we're not going to go into the exercise of what we will do or what we won't. So he's got the deflection. No, we're not going to. I'm not going to answer your question. I'm not going to get into the details. We don't need to tell you anything. We don't really need to have any sort of thing to say to you at all. We're just going to do what we're going to do. Why in the world would we tell you, the enemy, anybody, what we will or will not do in pursuit of an objective? Wow, that's quite a word salad of nothing, isn't it? That's a nothing answer. So that's where we are. I think they would have benefited, Craig, if they would have at least got their talking points on the same page beforehand. I think back to Cheney and Bush, and they certainly were a little better at putting their lies together. Wasn't it always very clearly about weapons of mass destruction? Very clearly, Colin Powell. We have it in the North. We have it in the South. We have it in the East. Oh no, that was Rumsfeld, right? We have some in the North. We have some in the South. We have some in the East. We have some in the West. But they all were on that same kind of talking point. Like they had a little huddle, right? They were meeting in that war room, and Cheney was spelling it out for people. I think these guys are completely lost, and you don't know what this thing is. Based on all this, Craig, do you think that they are in panic mode, or they don't give a shit about what we think?
I think going into this whole thing that, it's funny because we mentioned the thing that there's no such thing as nation states. Well, there's a couple, right? The first time I kind of realized that, I was in a nation state. I was in Nicaragua. I'm like, this is an actual nation state over here, right? Whoever's pulling the strings, whoever pushed this, I don't think they knew exactly what they were going up against when it came to Iran, how much power they had, what they can do, how much they can repel. I think they had an idea that they would get bled, However, even if it's an old missile that Iran was launching, and this is something Mohammed Morandi said, they're going to launch all these cheap old missiles at them. And, the Iranians are going to spend thousands, maybe get into the millions, while the Americans, just to repel all these cheap missiles, are going to spend billions, if not millions, to do that, billions, if not trillions, to stop that. I think that there's been some form of kind of like realization that Iran will not be stopped, will not be defeated unless troops get on the ground, right? This is like old school guerrilla warfare, but on a much larger scale. Iran, their number one form of attack is ballistic missiles and drones that can be launched from mobile sites. Now, the argument they're making on Fox News today, and Pete Hegseth as well, is that they're going to control the skies. That's what's going to happen. And once they can control the skies, they can now find these mobile vehicles or mobile, where they're launching the drones or whatnot, and they can shoot them down. However, for years, the Iranians have been building underground, and we don't know where they're coming out of and where they're popping up and where they're shooting from. And that poses a big problem, right? Yeah. If we don't know where the launch sites are and they can launch from wherever, and we learned this when the Americans did this along the Ukrainians when they went inside and they had all these mobile drones when they did the big attack inside Russia, They just drove these vans, and all of a sudden they shot these drones out of a van, and you don't pick the drones up until it's too late. So that's a big problem, and I think they understand the only way that they can really, conquer or stop Iran without getting financially bled to death, like that, I don't know where we're at in this whole war. I would like to think that Iran can take care of themselves. Not the fact that I want them killing U.S. troops or anything like that. Is that you want somebody to eventually slap down the bully and say stop, right? So we don't know exactly where Iran is at. You listen to people like Mohammed Morandi and other people talk. They can hold their own. They'll defeat the United States. They have a constitution. They can kill the upper echelon of politicians over there. They'll just be replaced, and Iran will go on to exist. You'd like to believe that, but you don't know, because what you saw this morning, when you first woke up, was the United States and Israel carpet bombing Tehran. And you just think that when they have that superior air capabilities, and the United States does have that, they have the top, top 3 out of 5 air forces. If you combine United States Air Force, the United States Navy, and Space Force, those 3 are the top 5 air supremacies in the world, right? You got China and Russia getting in there somehow. But when you have that much air supremacy, you think that you would be able to conquer and hold the country. No, it's always been that situation that to occupy a land, you need troops to occupy that land. And I think there's just a realization from the Pentagon. There's a realization from those in the administration. There's a realization from those who pull the strings that the only way that this gets done is if you put those boots on the ground. Otherwise, you're not going to capture Iran. You're not going to stop them. They'll still pop out from wherever they're located underground, just like Hamas, popping out of underground and in tunnels and firing. It's a different type of warfare that they're not used to.
Also, they've had years to plan for this. This is the part, like, I'm sorry, but like, we always talk about
decades to plan for this.
Decades. We talk about every time Netanyahu's come to DC and told us it's time to nuke Iran. It's time to like they have so every time he's done that, not only has he been lying to us, he's been sending a message to them that they need to be ready. So they've been ready for this. Yeah. They've been ready for this longer than any of us can pretty much fathom. And I think that that's why what you're saying, Craig, is it's true. Like, this is something we cannot possibly be prepared for. There's no way.
Yeah.
They were ready. And not to mention the killing of their supreme leader. Like, this isn't something that for Trump and any of these idiots to think that was some sort of like checkmate move where we got your queen. You can't win the game now. We got your queen. It's not. That's not the thing. That's not how they're wired. That was part of it. He was prepared to die.
Yeah.
He didn't run.
Yeah.
He said goodbye to everyone. He said, "Hey, my purpose is served. Take the message with you." It was this almost this like badge of honor that we got to this. Hey, we're ready. You guys are ready. You're ready, Grasshopper. You're ready. That's what he told everyone. You're ready, Grasshopper. You can do it. So this was an empowering move. We empowered Iran on that first 24-hour cycle. Empowered them.
Yeah. And mainstream media shows that today. And on Fox News, they showed all the leaders. And I can't, what's the word, distinguished or exterminated, or they use something like that as a word of killing them.
They say eliminated.
Eliminated.
That's their little go-to.
Eliminated. Yeah, eliminated.
Like
I really wish they would put murdered up there. Murdered.
Like, or at least say something more like, yeah, it makes it feel like it's a video game and they're not even taking it seriously. Like we're about to get to the next level. No one's gotten this far in the game. It's like, this ain't no game. You're killing people. So just say that, right? You can at least say executed, because at least that will sound official. But do you say eliminated like it's a character on a screen? It's which it is. By the way, that's how we know this through all of the different WikiLeaks through Iraq, all this like these kids that were shooting down shit were always, it was like a video game. Oh yeah, let's get these people, and it's the same shit. Like in Palestine, we've seen for the last 3 years, the way Israel, IDF, they treat it like a video game. So of course Fox News is going to report it like that. But no, I think we're empowering them right now, and they're ready for this. This one's a little interesting. I saw this. It's being called an Iran prank. They pranked us with this one. Iran pranked the U.S. and Israel by placing painted jets at their bases instead of real ones. Iran has moved its actual jets underground. Like, they have the underground capacity to do that. They have it before the war began. Israel and the USA have been bombing paintings, not real jets. Here's a shot. Here is a shot. If you guys
part of the plan, and this shows this is them trolling the United States. It's like they would. Jeez.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No,
I don't want to play that copyright.
Yeah. These are paintings, and they're like, you can see the painting is still on the ground. It has so you didn't kill anything. It's so stupid. But this was also them trolling them and showing that they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're financially bleeding. And they learned it from the United States. Sanctions mean that you bleed a people so much that they turn on their own government. Iran's trying to do the same thing back to the United States and Israel right now. They can't do it so much to Israel because Israel has healthcare, a good standard of living, free college education. They're complaining, but it's nothing like the United States.
Yeah.
We're over here. We just spent $40 billion to shoot down one $250,000 missile from Iran. And the potholes are still in front of my house for how long? I still can't afford to buy my groceries. I still can't go to school. When is that going to kick in? Because that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And by the way, the whole Kurdish thing again. How many times are people going to go to the Kurds? Hey, man, you fight for us, we'll get you your own land. Hey, you fight for. They did it in Iraq. They do it in Turkey. They do it down in Syria. Now they're going to do it in Iran. Pretty sooner or later, the Kurds got to go. Fuck off, assholes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that they're all marched together. There's different factions, and that's obvious too. But still, the promise to all of them, hey, come fight for us, and we'll get you your own land. We've heard that before.
Well, let's get to the other part of this, the religious, the Christian psychopath part of, Zionist Christian part, right? Judeo-Christian part, which is a huge piece of this, right? This is another are you guys keeping track of the list of all the different reasons we're doing this? Because I think this is the most psychotic one of all. We talk about God's plan. So what's happening?
We talked about this. This is crazy.
This is awful. This is that if you're
Armageddon.
If you signed up for this, like if you're a young dude that signed up for this, and you have to, I don't know what to say. Like you did sign up for it, so it's kind of a little bit on you. But man, this is wow. U.S. commanders across more than 30 military bases told troops the Iran war is part of God's plan and linked it to Armageddon. A commander said Trump was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon. Wow.
It's ridiculous.
The Military Religious Freedom Foundation says it has received over 110 similar complaints describing the war as biblically sanctioned and a sign of the Christian end times.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've been doing a lot of studies on this too as well, and we brought this yesterday to the Combo Couch, Truth Wire.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. We actually broke out the Substack and talked about it because we were talking about, and tomorrow I have another story I'm talking about. I don't know if you ever heard of the liturgical calendar, right?
I have heard of it. I don't know.
So it's a Christian Catholic religious calendar, which pretty much where the Vatican goes along with dictating to what all the Catholic Church and the Christian churches talk about. So in other words, if I'm in a church in Kenya, I'll hear the same passage that I'll hear in a church in Detroit, right? They stick to this certain calendar. Well, guess what was on the calendar the day we bombed Iran?
What was on it?
That Genesis 15, the one that Huckabee manipulates all the time. That's the passage that was being told. My friend called me right away. He goes, Pasta. He goes, I know, I used to say back in the days when you were a conspiracy theory, now I'm just believing in everything. He goes, they literally read the passage from Genesis. He goes, my pastor even had a hard time reading it. Once again, it's the calendar coming from the Catholic Church that you have to stay about, And he goes home and he finds out that we just bombed Iran. It's a holy war, my friend.
It's a holy war.
They were giving you reasons why the Holy Land and the chosen people need to be protected the day they bombed Iran. This is not by fucking coincidence. And then we got the military now telling their troops it's a holy war. It's always been that. And Matt, these are the reasons too, the whole Charlie Kirk thing, right? Like coming around on Israel, but oh, wait a second. Islam's the fucking problem. It's a holy war. I've always hated that shit, not just from him, but from any theocrat. This is why we can't have religion in politics. It always goes back down, digresses back down to my God is better than your God. That's going to justify me dropping bombs.
And this goes back to the feelings. Everything's feelings when it's yes, because you don't have to prove shit. You just have to say it. It's the God told Moses on the mountain. That's
so
all
myopic.
Yeah, that's all it is. And just
you
for
get the emotional reaction and you act on it.
Just for perspective, if you guys want to know, if you didn't know, there actually are churches in Iran. These are all actual churches that those same people that are praying with Trump should be praying for these churches, because that doesn't make sense, right? How does that? If you have this many, now you would say, well, that's not that many. Well, that looks like enough where you should at least be having a conversation about this. If in fact this is a end of days prophecy, is that part of the end of days? I don't know enough about it, but do you have to blow up your own churches to bring on? I guess
we've been doing that for the last several years since this whole situation, since the towers came down, right, Matt? We've been doing this for just blowing up churches in Iraq and whatnot. Some of your most historic, oldest churches of all time are in all Muslim countries. This is fucking ridiculous. The fact that these people can't put this together. You're killing your own people. They talked about this in Gaza. You're bombing Christians all the time. Iraq. Even Saddam Hussein said they're, Iraqi Christians, but they are Iraqis, and we will protect them, right? You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't they've been able to twist this shit so badly. And I was part of this group. I used to go on Saturdays on this religious channel. It was a news channel, and I liked the guys, but they couldn't get out of their own way. They were still just fucking so stuck to their, Christian ideologue situations where it's stating that Muslims are trying to eliminate Christians, and they believe that shit. And it's just like, holy shit, these are Abrahamic religions just twisted in a certain way. And now you guys are letting it being weaponized to fight each other. Like you're falling for this shit. But it is one of the biggest motivators in the United States. It's religion. This is okay because they're dirty Muslims that hate, they're dirty Marxist commie Muslims that hate Christians, capitalist Christians in the United States. Therefore, they must be eliminated and destroyed. That's the fucking tie they make.
They've already arrived, right? Memdami's already arrived, man. It's too late. They already arrived. They're here.
Free buses.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this old one from Pete Hegseth speaking about a Jewish Temple Mount. This is another objective, I guess, in the scripture about how you have to. Okay, well, I'll let him say it. I don't know if you saw this one. This is weird. This is very bizarre. I think I need a little more education on this scripture shit, but apparently there's another objective, particularly in Iran.
Reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible.
Who's clapping? Who the fuck is clapping? Oh my God.
I don't know how it would happen. You don't know how it would happen, but I know that it could happen.
Yeah. So
what is that? That's the Secretary of War right now overseeing the war with Iran that people fighting it are starting to say actually is about rebuilding this third temple. It's the same man. Okay. This is the point where you begin to think maybe we should have talked about this and its implications. And what are its implications? Religious war, global religious war. So the first heavily publicized move by the United States military and the Israeli military in this conflict was to kill the head of state of Iran, the 86-year-old Ayatollah Khomeini, who was replaced today by his son, who's apparently more anti-Western than he was. So I guess, strictly speaking, that wasn't very effective. But if you take 3 steps back, and no one did because everyone's busy denouncing him as Hitler and the most evil man in the world, and we're so grateful he's dead. When was the last time the United States military or the Israeli, working in conjunction with the Israeli military, killed the head of a world religion? Is that wise?
I wish the people in that press room would ask these questions too, not just about, and they don't get answers anyways. They just get yelled at. But this is what Tucker's talking. This is far more sinister, right? And we're talking about here. We're talking about like this very like this religious crusade, right? That's what we're talking about here. A crusade that involves some sort of Jewish Temple Mount replacement. As you go in there, you're doing this you're doing this on behalf of Judeo-Christian theology, which is based in Jewish supremacy. That's what this is, which then goes back to the point of who's pushing this, whether it's Israel itself or like we've talked earlier about who's pulling the puppet strings of that. But there's something far more nefarious here than wanting to get all the land, just to get all the money, just to get all the weapons. But you're talking about a biblical prophecy that ends with end of days. Yet the Christians are walking right into some weird trap where the Jewish supremacy people are still going, aha, thanks for everything, suckers. You goyim, you did all this for us. Ha ha ha. So that part's in there too. It's very bizarre. Very bizarre. And it kind of makes me really sick to my stomach that this stuff is out there and there's nobody except Tucker talking into the camera to his viewers, and us, we're talking, others are talking, but nobody, no media that's going into the press room is bringing this part up at all. I mean, this is sickening shit, man.
Yeah, no, it is. It makes me question every single time. How do they pull it off AIPAC? How do they have more Christian membership than Israel, than Jews, actual, Jews, it's crazy when it is. And, it is, once again, when people say, oh, it's an American lobby, whatnot. No, it's not. It's once again for the benefit of the greater Israel, but this is the way any of these things work. This is how they pull this off. This is how they convinced a bunch of people to slaughter a bunch of Indians. They always put, people and species over other peoples and species. This religion is more dominant. This person is more dominant. You're the victim here, and this is how they get it done. And then they pull this shit off. This is about colonization, resource extraction. So even if they might move the people in, right, who's going to own the majority of that land? Who's going to own the majority of the resources? Who's going to have the majority of the benefit, right? They trick people into believing that they're there for their consent, but they're in there for the oligarchs, they're only in there for their consent and their benefit. So it is kind of crazy because when you hear those people clap, it's like, what the fuck are you clapping at, bro? You're clapping at your own demise.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think we have you for a little bit more. I think there's one more part of the story.
Sure.
One more part of the story that I want to just touch on because this also happened and this is important. I think we saw this coming, but there was an official Senate vote when it comes to what do we call it? It's the
War Powers Act.
The War Powers Act. This, if anything, and this is, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news. If you guys hadn't heard, the thing got voted down pretty bad. It was pretty bad, and it really shows you if you guys still want to hold on to some idea that there's just uniquely Trump's team is pulling this shit off and the Dems are trying really hard to stop it. That's not true. Here's the actual Senate vote that went down. And this should tell you everything you need to know that the Senate members, Democrats and Republicans, all got together and said, no, we like it when our president makes war decisions without our involvement. We don't want to be involved. So forget this idea that we're going to hold them accountable. Hell no, we want nothing to do with it. Go on with your bombings, Trump.
It takes off the accountability off them too, doesn't it, Matt? When they abdicate everything to the executive branch. And in fact, this vote was stalled from getting done until after the bombing started. Yeah. And it was stalled by people like Chuck the Schmuck Schumer and fucking Hakeem Jeffries had his back in the fucking house. Yeah. So this is why, because then they can come out and act like the fucking hero, like they're against it the whole time. Meanwhile, they let it happen because that's their donors wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah. So here's the actual vote, and this is a tragic moment. Yet added to the list of yet another tragic moment in our decline of non-existing democracy that we have.
On this, the yeas are 47, the nays are 53. The motion to discharge is not approved.
If you guys missed that, it was 47 to 53.
The 47, was it the 47 Democrats versus the 53 Republicans? Was that what it was?
Wait a minute.
Did it
Hold
go
on.
right down party lines?
There was another. Hold on. There was another. Did I mix up the vote here? No. Wait. Hold on. Yes, that was it. That was so you had it was 53 to 47. You had Democrats going over to the Senate, to the Republican side, just enough. They coordinate this, like you said, Craig. They coordinate this so just enough of them can do it, so it doesn't, so it gets, so the thing gets blocked, and then the ones that voted not to block it can say, "Hey, we tried." So they're all in on it. So there'll be just enough to put it over. And there you go. They're all, but like you said, Chuck Schumer and Jeffries, who are the leaders of the Democratic Party, they're the most guilty here because they're the ones that are supposed to be doing that protest vote, doing that, hey, we don't like where this is going. And you would think they'd want to if we really believed in some two-party system, which obviously doesn't exist clearly when you have Schumer and he walks out of the vote and he gets questioned. By the way, let me play that clip because you want to talk about the ultimate Freudian slip. Here's Schumer trying to justify this outcome here. And he does a little oopsie. Wait for it. Here comes a little oopsie, Schumer.
Israel, forced the U.S.'s hand here, boxed the U.S. in on this?
Look, no one wants a nuclear war. No one wants a nuclear Israel, but we certainly don't want an endless war, plain and simple. What did I say? Oh, no, got it. Let me say that again. No one wants an endless war, but we certainly don't want a nuclear Iran. That's for sure. Okay?
At what point does the lack of DHS funding...
Wow is right.
Did you guys catch that? Oh my God. We don't want a nuclear Israel. You think that might have been apparently your handlers were not going to let you walk away from that one. You got to go back and correct yourself. Wow. And we see this kind of slippage a lot, right? This isn't the first time we've seen. You remember the George W. getting up there and talking about the Ukraine stuff, and then saying, he accidentally says Iraq when he meant, right?
Yeah.
You see, so and we call it Freudian stuff. It's not really a Freudian.
I remember that.
It's a giveaway. It's the thing that's in their subconscious. So there's something about the psychology, right? It's kind of sitting there inside, and it oopsily comes out. It's not random.
We have the best fraudulent voting scheme out there. Wait.
Can I let's play this again. I want to see this one more time. Look how long it takes him to realize his mistake, because he was ready. He was walking away.
Do you think Israel, forced the U.S.'s hand here, boxed the U.S. in on this?
Look, no one wants a nuclear war. No one wants a nuclear Israel, but we certainly don't want an endless war, plain and simple. What did I say? Oh, no, got it. Let me say that again. No one wants an endless war, but we certainly don't want a nuclear Iran. That's for sure. Okay?
At what point does the...
All right. Wow. I mean, it's like that's the part we're not supposed to be talking about. Israel can do whatever they want. This is the thing. So never mind the thing that we're all thinking that we're not allowed to say. So there it is. And you guys, you have to understand there's no other way to see this at this point. Both parties are in on this. They've been in on it the whole time. And any of you Kamala voters out there, Hillary supporters who thought that lesser of the two evils was the way to go, and that all these MAGAs wish they had voted for Kamala, I just want to be crystal clear that she made it clear. Here's Jill Stein reminding us, for all the squirming Democrat apologists, before the Kamala wouldn't have done this, resurface. Let's remember, she literally campaigned on being tougher on Iran than Trump, and at the behest of Israel, of course. And there he is. She's talking to Jewish voters. If you guys remember, I know feels like ages ago, but this is 2024, where she says all options are on the table to stop Iran from going nuclear. She was ready to do it. She's suggesting that Trump would not stand by Israel, but she would. She would do whatever it took. You're not convinced? You think this is just her just saying what Jewish voters needed to hear? How about we hear from her the girl power I'm with her before that? Let's hear from Hillary, the one we know doesn't like to go into states that she says F you. I don't need half the country, you deplorables. F you guys. F the deplorables. Yeah, that Hillary. She had some very clear words about Iran. Just to remind you, because I know we have short-term memories, this is the I'm with her crowd, in case you guys think that you had it right the whole time.
Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible...
There it is.
Yeah.
They're all in on it. They're all in on it. There it is. Any final thoughts, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of said too as well earlier in the show how upsetting it is that it's still Republican Democrat and they're still trying to play this game. And the Democrats are going to be swooping in. They're like the heroes right now. Here comes Gavin Newsom, Donald Trump. How is this illegal war? You know, all those people broke those Senate hearing committees, right, from the other day, the Arms Committee. This is terrible, you know, Elizabeth Warren, whatnot. If they were really concerned about this, they knew this stuff was going on weeks ago. They would have made sure that vote went to the floor and everybody would have been put on record right there. Boom. Let's stop this from happening before it happens. Let's sound the alarm. No, they're all for this. And I'm glad you brought the tweet when somebody pointed out that Kamala did very much campaign on the fact that she was going to be tougher on Iran than Donald Trump was. And that might be to just impress her husband or her handler. Don't know who that is, which one yet, but they're all in it. They're all on the same team. Let's stop pretending like they're not. You know, I mean, the Democrats are going to try to pretend like they are anti-war. And this mess that we're in right now, Gaza wouldn't have increased the way it did if Donald Trump didn't come into play. But let's not forget who started that war. And let's not forget who started the Russia-Ukraine war. You can go back to each administration. They have their own dirt on them. You can go back to Obama. They're all war hawks, and we need to get rid of them, right? And the first thing we need to do is stop rejecting the tribal behavior. That's what the show is all about, right? Being principled, saying no to the tribal behavior. Stop being a tribalist. And that's all we have in front of us are a bunch of tribalists. And guess what? You might think you're in a different tribe because you wear a red shirt and that guy wears a blue shirt. You might think that you're the lesser of two evils this time because you're a Republican and not a Democrat and you're not as woke and you're not going to do to children what those Democrats will do. You might think that you're different than them, but those people in that room together, in that Senate and the House, they know they're on the same team. They're being funded by the same people, being told what to do by the same people, and you're the mark. You are the one they are hustling. It's like they say in the beginning of the movie of Rounders. Here's the thing. If you can't spot the sucker the first 20 minutes at the table, then you are the sucker. The American voter, you are the sucker. Yeah. Reject the system. Have principles.
Yeah. I was about to say that was a good one to end on there, Craig, but I just got word from one of our viewers. Another horrible vote just happened. We have some breaking news.
Please.
So thank you, Shelley, for this. The House just voted to bury the crime files. And it's true. This just came out. This was reported just seconds ago, or at least on this tweet I just found. The U.S. House of Representatives just voted 357-65 to block the release of congressional sexual misconduct reports.
And paid by the way, all the law firms, all these lawsuits paid by the American tax dollar. The slush fund taken from your money to pay off the victims, right, of the creeps of Congress that have committed these crimes, or at least settled out before anything came to fruition. And I'm sure there's a couple situations where senators, congressmen, whatever they had to do, they had to pay out because it was just a trap, but they didn't want to get out there for the bad PR. But most of these situations are guys actually going overboard with their sexual misconduct and the United States tax dollars paying for that settlement so it doesn't get out. And now we're not even allowed to see what we're paying for. This is just, thank you, Shelley. This is just par for the course, baby.
Yeah. Just to be clear, they don't want us to know about their sexual misconduct. They think that should be private amongst their elite pedo cabal circles. Just to be clear, they just told us this just now. Okay, so it's a lot to process, but we're not shocked. I mean, it's disgusting, it's awful, but we shouldn't be shocked. This is exactly how they behave, and we've known this the whole time. Okay, that should do it for this part of the show, Craig. I have one more funny thing. I gotta play. This is just for you. This is because of our opening debate we had. This is for you, man. Check this out. Points if you can recognize.
The great thing is,
yeah.
You know what we're not seeing? Behind Netanyahu, there's somebody's got his hand up there, moving him as a puppet too.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Extra points if you can point out the soundtrack on this little AI bit.
Do it one more time.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let our viewer answer the question. We like
oh man,
there it is. There it is, baby.
It is Eyes Wide Shut,
Yes,
you
there it
Stanley
is.
Kubrick motherfucker, Stump-dill.
Yeah, and Nayland got it too. Eyes Wide Shut.
Nailed.
Very good, guys. Our Rumble crowd got it. I don't think our YouTube was as on the mark on that one, but there it is. That's the fellatio password to get in, and the pianist. He is like, I'm just blindfolded. I gotta play. That's him playing on the organ, and then they're doing that little. He's not allowed to look, and he's like, "Hey Tom, come." Well, I don't know. His character wasn't Tom. He's like, "Hey Tom Cruise, come and check out this party. I'm not allowed to put my blindfold up. I'm playing some shit." There it is.
By the way, guys,
it's
a great crowd on YouTube, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. We got 106 people watching. Yep. Let's get 106 thumbs up for Matt Weinglass and what he's been able to do. Remember, he had to seek shelter at THL Presents because they nuked his other channel, right? You know, he's like the Iranians. He's underground. He's over here. He's over there. You can't find him right now. You're gonna have to bring boots on the ground to go get him because he's tucked in like an Alabama tick.
Thanks. Hey, man, thanks so much for what you bring to the show regularly. And just
I think these fireworks behind us are really what helping the channel grow.
You think so?
People are going, we got to go over and see Matt and Pasta get into it and stuff like that. Dude, it's kind of cool when you have two people disagreeing, from the left. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's an intriguing from the real left, not the synthetic left. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to debate Cenk Uygur on Russia, Ukraine, or on COVID, right? Because I've been wondering how he would handle a fight right now from the left. Because right now he's supporting, he's being pro-Palestinian, being anti-Israel and whatnot. And I shouldn't say anti-Israel, anti-Zionist of sorts. And he's having to fight on all these dumbass right-wingers. How can he take a fight from the left? When you have a more intriguing, point of view from somebody who comes from the same kind of area, right? That's a little bit different. It's very easy to debate somebody who's completely opposed than you than it is to somebody who kind of shares a lot of the same ideas and values. I'd like to do that. I'd like to beat him up on COVID. I don't think he'd take a debate on COVID right now. I would say I'd like to debate him on 9/11, Matthew, but he came around now all of a sudden because he saw how great it is to get those clicks.
Hey, you know what? We all have the moment that we go, aha, right? Some of us sooner than others. I got to remind, I know we were both like first with COVID, so that's cool. But I got to tell you, man, I think I got 9/11 before you did, right? You took a little while with that one, huh? With 9/11?
Well, you weren't even around by the time I got 9/11.
I mean, I'm just saying what you told me. I mean, we didn't know each other.
I didn't get it off the bat. No, I did not. It was, it seemed at that time I really hadn't even gone down the rabbit hole of anything. And after 9/11, after elections, that really, because my own personal time in elections, I was like, when you realize what's going on in elections and you understand this is shadowy government thing that's kind of stealing things to maintain power, and you're like, if they'll do this, they'll do anything, right? That was the moment and then I went back and started looking at things. I was like, holy shit. No, it's very, very logical, that, they did this to us. They did this to ourselves. They killed their own people to thrust ourselves into these wars because so much came after it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't know where you were at 9/11, but if you knew right away when those planes hit the thing, inside job, then you definitely were ahead of me because I thought it was people who were mad at us who did this.
So I had just to be, I had there was a girl on our team. We were doing a little local show for LA 36 for public access. We were doing a little investigation show, and we did end up doing a story on this, but we had to wait till 2005 to do it. But at the time, she told us that she had made a drive down from Orlando, where did she go? She went right by the Pentagon area, and she said something is wrong. Like I want you guys to know that there was she said, because she was there the next day. That's right. I was on September 12th. She said, I just want you guys to know I saw this. And and the reaction, the appropriate reaction isn't shut up or too soon or what are you talking about, crazy? The question, the appropriate reaction when someone says, hey, I was there and I saw something that's not right and it's not what they showed you on TV. The appropriate response is, tell me more. And that's what I did. And it was because, and so that's what we tell our audience. Always come into it like that. You may not have been in Lahaina. You may not have been in, LA where we are with the LA fires. I'm just talking about whatever the thing is. If somebody says, I was there, let me tell you what I saw that you might have missed. Let them speak. That would be the starting point every time. And that's why I got 9/11 pretty damn early, because of the firsthand account where she was saying about the stuff, the different plane parts that were moved. It was weird. She's like, there was a hole in the side. It was not cool. And I said, tell me more. So let's all do that from here on out. The next thing, right, is tell me more. If somebody says I was there, tell me more. All right. There it is.
Good.
All right. Thanks so much, Pasta.
Much love, buddy. I'll speak to you soon.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you soon.
By the way, Danny Shaw on Truthwire tomorrow around 12:30, 12:45. Come check on out. He's going to talk about Cuba. He just got back. We're going to talk about Cuba. We're going to talk about Iran. Talk about that whole liturgical calendar. I can't even say it right. I hope I'm saying it right. Have you heard that word before, by the way?
Yeah, no, I've heard it. And then you explained a little. I'm going to be curious what Danny says about that. I'm going to definitely be tuning into that one. Danny Shaw.
Yeah, he wants to talk a lot about Iran too as well, because he's been doing a lot of that work.
Yeah.
The liturgical calendar. Take a look at it, ladies and gentlemen. It's both Christians and Catholic churches use this calendar. And it just so happens that they did the Genesis verse, the one that Tucker was questioning Mike Huckabee on that particular day, the day they bombed Iran. Coincidence? I don't know. You tell me. Thanks again, buddy.
All right. Take care, Pasta.
Peace out. Love you guys.
Love you too. There he is. Craig Pasta Jardula. We've been getting through these crazy rocky show today with the tech problems, but we've been working them out, and we appreciate you guys sticking it out with us. I think we fixed them all out. I think we fixed them up. With that, I think we're just a few minutes before bringing in Jay Scott. So what I'm going to do is, I thought we were going to have some time to do some talking back with you. What I will do is we'll get to some of them. I'm just not going to do an official intro to it. But I do think it's worth at least acknowledging you guys that if you're doing super chats with us, you're doing Rumble rants, we want to make sure you guys got your attention there. And I'll see if I can put up a couple more too before Jay comes in here. Citizen, you're always on point, my friend. Always on point. We love you. Thank you for the super chats. Very kind of you. Pasta, he said, Pasta, elaborate on real number of servicemen, 800. That's something we did not get to. I'm sorry I didn't put this up earlier. I don't think he was actually able to elaborate, because actually, you know what? Let me answer for him. I can answer for him. His inside source told him over 800. He might just tell you a little more detail about where he got that information from, but I don't think he's able to tell us the source at this point. He might reveal it on Truthwire. We'll have to see. He might be able to talk about more on Truthwire. But that tweet that went out and what you're referring to, Pasta put out that tweet that he has an inside person there that said it was well over 800 U.S. service people that are dead. Not 4, not 6, well over 500, as Fiorella tweeted out as well. But Craig's, I guess, from what I saw, his tweet about the 800 plus dead U.S. soldiers, I guess that tweet went a little bit viral, which is cool. Damn it, we should have asked him about it. Now that I'm thinking, we should have asked him about it. Okay, and I got this one for you earlier. America spends $10 billion over 6 days. It's not a sustainable method. we're going to get into more of the money problems and oil problems when we bring Jay Scott in here in just a moment. So that's something worth talking about. We got to understand why is our business model seem to be a failed model? Who would invest in our business model at this point when we're spending at least, I would say, 20 times the amount that Iran is spending? That's an estimate, but the fact that as of now we've already spent well into the billions on what? And now they're telling us we're just getting started. I thought this was supposed to be 1 week tops. No, now it's looking like it might be going at least into, wait for it, September and beyond. That's what the projection right now. We'll talk more about that when we bring Jay in. But I just want to let you guys know, if you haven't heard it, this shit ain't no 12-day war. This is going to go the rest of this calendar year, it looks like. And then where do we get all this money from? Where do we get these billions and billions of dollars from? Where? I don't know. I guess we just print it, right? We just print it out of thin air. That's what we do. So there it goes. One more from Citizen. Thank you so much. All Zios PDFs are dumb, but Thiel's dumbest of bunch. Thiel's dumbest? Dumb. Maybe the asshole of the bunch. Is Thiel dumb, or is he smart to put himself in a position where he's able to get away with all this investment, all this tech spyware investment, tech bro investment? I don't know, but he's a son of a bitch, that's for sure. That's for sure. Anybody who thinks he's like some sort of good guy player, you like these Silicon Valley dudes, you think they're cool. You watch Silicon Valley on HBO, you think these are cool. You think you guys think the Facebook movie was accurate? You guys remember Social Network? You think that movie was accurate? Oh, we're gonna do a piece on that next week. I'm gonna show you guys Facebook. The movie was a CIA operation. None of the things that you saw in that movie really happened. It was the exact opposite. Just so you know, that movie was to make you think that you had these nerdy college boys that just stuck to it and figured out a way, and they had their little battle, their little internal struggle of who signed what contract and who gets what percentage, and bring in Justin Timberlake, Napster, and we'll figure out the lawsuit and da-da-da, and we're rooting for Sam Altman over Zuckerberg, but Zuckerberg, at least he held his ground. So all that shit, none of that actually happened. None of that. Facebook was actually a CIA operation where they had to unplug another spyware, and they just moved it over to Facebook, and they handed the keys to Zuckerberg. That's what actually happened. The entire thing was about keeping track of data of American people. That's what it was. And ultimately the globe, but starting with us. That's what that was. This is not some, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything from your dorm room bullshit. That's not what this is. Anyways, we'll get into some of that next week. One more from Citizen. Oh, right. Noam's best friend, she's aging like milk. Ha. Oh man, we've looked at some of these celebrities that are no longer have their, what do you call it? Their adrenochrome fix kick, whatever. It seems like they might be suffering the consequences of that. A lot of them. Have you guys checked out Ellen? Have you checked her out? Go take a look at what Ellen's looking. She looks like, what do we say? We were talking about Ellen the other day. What do we say? She looks like her own grandfather now. Ellen has turned into her own grandfather. That's what she actually looks like. I'm not kidding. Well, it's a joke, but it's funny because it's true, right? Okay. That'll do it for I think that's all the super chats we have. I wish I could get to more right now, but you guys, we were kind of running over. We don't like to do 5-hour shows all the time. So we'll try to keep this one to 4. With that said, yeah, we'll try to keep this one to 4. We'll see if we can do it. Let's see if we can pull it off. We'll see if we can. We have a lot of show coming up right now. Let's go ahead and move on to the next part of the show. If you guys are just getting to us just now, you're just tuning in now, you came at a good time. You can go back and watch the other stuff another time when we upload the segments or whatever you want to do. The live stay up on our Rumble channel. Always. They're actually been staying up on our YouTube channel too. We've actually been putting more stuff up on YouTube because YouTube's working out. We thank you guys, all of you guys tuning in on YouTube. we broke records yesterday or on Tuesday. We'll talk about it right now. Let's bring in our next co-host for the show for today. You know him, you love him. Please welcome back to the show, Jay Scott.
What's going on, Matt? Happy Thursday, man. Glass is half full today. I'm excited to be on the show because I've been seeing some good news, man. I don't even know if you had a chance to get to all the good news I've been seeing over the past hour or two, but you heard about the Kurds, right? Or no?
Oh my gosh. There's an update on the Kurds? What happened?
Well, first of all, congrats again, to both of us. We got to, to everyone on the homeless left for what happened on Tuesday, 45,000 live viewers, major. So, we appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep that going. So
wait, did you say 45? You said 45,000. We had 45,000 watching on YouTube, on this channel.
On Tuesday, this past Tuesday, I looked at the total view count and it was up to over 45,000. And that's a major milestone, man. We're doing all this work to try to get the news out there. And that shows you people want to hear what we have to say, Matt. So, I love doing this work with you. That's more motivation to keep going so we can get this truth out there. And now let's turn that 45,000 viewers into 45,000 subscribers. So if you're watching right now, and you're not subscribed, just press that little button, man. Hit the notification bell, make sure you get notified. But as for the good news with the Kurds, the Kurds just put out a letter and said, guess what, guys? We are done being your proxies. You screwed us over in Syria. You told us that if we rose up against Assad, you'd give us our own state. You stabbed us in the back. Now you want us to go do your fighting for you again in Iran. We're done. We're not doing it this time. So now this means Pete Hegseth, who wants to go send boots on the ground to overthrow the Iranian government, if he decides to move forward with it, it's going to be all American boots. So again, I don't want to see anyone die. That includes American soldiers, but it's going to come at a very heavy political cost. If they do try to move forward with it, because even the proxies are saying, nah, we're good. So if you want to look at that as a glass half full situation, it just shows you that people around the world are waking up to how we treat our so-called friends.
Yeah, that is great news to hear. And it's not independent on its own. We are seeing some other voices speak up. Especially at this point, it's really nice to see that, not like a year from now or 2 years from now or 20 years from now, as we had to experience. If you go back to Iraq, you didn't have any pushback. You had this. You guys remember the coalition of the willing, this whole Bush and Cheney, how they marketed that, and everybody was in on everything, and nobody had a problem. And if you had a problem, you're either with us or with the terrorists, and that worked. You guys remember that? If you guys are old enough to remember the original war on terror, it was very concise, very to the point. WMDs, we had them up in the north, in the south, in the east, in the west. That's what Rumsfeld told us. It wasn't really clear where they were, but that was the messaging. And it was, we got to get them over there so we don't get them here. And everybody had to sign on. Every country had to sign on. Every person, if you challenged it, if you were a Democrat, you challenged it, you were the problem. So everybody. So this is cool when people speak up about this. And I'm glad we're starting off with this because this is cool. This is nice to see. And you know what else was nice to see? When the Spain prime minister spoke up, that was awesome because I honestly, I think we got the news about that on Tuesday. I didn't look into it as closely. We did. I think we announced it on the show then, but if we want to start with that, to see what has transpired. So let's start from the top of that. So from Al Jazeera, Spain's prime minister, Pedro Sanchez, has condemned the U.S.-Israel war on Iran as a breach of international law, emerging as one of the sole Western leaders to denounce the attacks. Holy crap. That's good, right? This is good news that they're saying this out loud. Okay. So, now with that, you have Trump coming back. Let me grab this. I didn't grab the right one. Hold on, give me 1 second here. So you have Trump. Okay. Here we go. So Trump responds. How does he respond? As we know, Trump's going to respond very aggressively and trying to teach Spain a lesson here. So what he does is he says, come on, come on, here we go.
Spain is the worst. They're led by a loser. But go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, there was this. Yeah. Well, there's that. Of course, he's like, we're going to cut off all the. We're cutting off trade with Spain. He has the right to stop everything. Has to do with has to do with Spain. He instructed Treasury Secretary Bezos to cut off all dealings with Spain. Oh my gosh, the U.S. can use Spain's bases if we want. Just fly in and use it. U.S. doesn't want anything to do with Spain. It seems that U.S. has just entered a trade war with Spain. But why is Caroline Leavitt lying about whether or not Spain is cooperating? Because I saw I don't know if you saw this one. She's saying no, we're good. Anything you're hearing is not actually true. Here's what she's saying.
Back to Spain, I think they heard the president's message yesterday loud and clear. And it's my understanding over the past several hours they've agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military. And so I know that the U.S. military is coordinating with their counterparts in Spain.
La portavoz de la Casa Blanca acaba de decir que España ha acordado cooperar.
So she says that Spain has agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military. Is this true? He goes, no, I completely deny it. Just as I was coming here, I was informed and we saw them. I completely deny it. The opinion of the Spanish government on the war in the Middle East, on the bombings in Iran, on the use of our bases hasn't changed one bit. The White House secretary is lying. She can be the Secretary of State, but I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs with the Spanish government. And I tell you that our opinion on the use of our military bases, on the Middle East war, on the bombings in Iran, hasn't changed at all. Well, where can this misunderstanding come from? I have no idea. And honestly, I have a lot of work at the moment. So we are in the middle of a couple of evacuations. Oh, shit. Thankfully, the one in Iran, all Spanish nationals that wanted to leave Iran are now safely in Azerbaijan, where we are constant coordination with all of my equals in the region. By the way, I'm going to pause there. We're not treating our U.S. military as well as they are. We don't communicate at all. We say, hey, you guys have to get out. Here's a phone number you can call. I don't know if you saw that, Jake. They're giving a phone number for people to call if they need help from the government. If you're stranded in one of these areas, when you call the number, there's nobody on the other line. You can't actually get through to anything. It's just a recorded line. So
you're on your own.
You're on your own. But he's actually saying, no, we're actually helping our people. We didn't start this mess. We want nothing to do with it, but we're going to help our people get to safety. That's what we're doing. So why is she lying? It sounds like he doesn't even have any time to waste time on it. He's like, I'm a busy man. I got lives to save, and I'm not going to waste my time even thinking about why the press secretary is going to be lying about us cooperating with the psychopath Israel U.S. war machine. It's crazy.
Yep. And, I wish I could say, that this is catching on more quickly. And right now, most European leaders are going along with it. But I was just, double checking the latest on it. And it looks like as of about 3 hours ago, Keir Starmer, the current prime minister of the UK, has also come out. And now he's slamming Trump. And he did a press conference earlier today. And a direct quote from the press conference from Mr. Keir Starmer is, Donald Trump has plunged the Middle East into chaos. We will stand by ethics no matter the pressure. So it seems like it's catching on a little bit, but this comes after the news from yesterday when the Italians just pointed out that they're going to be sending their Air Force, into the Middle East to help defend the Middle Eastern states. So there's mixed reactions, happening in Europe right now. And Germany also, I do believe, has committed to, helping defend Israel.
We have Germany. We have Mertz here. This is let me get this one queued up. This is Mertz sitting down and basically kissing Trump's ass here and saying, yeah, do whatever you got to do to Spain. Do what you got to do, Emperor Trump.
Quite simple. We are trying to convince Spain to catch up with the 3% or 3.5% which we agreed on in NATO. And as the President said, it's correct. Spain is the only one who is not willing to accept that. And we are trying to convince them that this is a part of our common security, that we all have to comply with these numbers. And this is 3.5 for military and another 1.5 for our military infrastructure. So Spain has to comply with that.
We all have to comply. All of us have to comply with the coalition of the evil. I mean, of the willing. I mean, of the forced axis of evil coalition, or whatever it is we're calling ourselves this time around. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, so there's definitely a break, and you are correct. Your assessment starting this out, about there being some splits in what's happening, is just becoming more and more pronounced. So I will say I'm extremely shocked to see that the UK, of all countries, is actually pushing back, against America like this, because usually the UK is our #1 lapdog. Usually, whatever it is America wants to do, the UK is at the forefront of it. Now, whether or not they're going to stick to that position, I guess that remains to be seen, because the truth is, as long as Europe keeps up this imaginary threat from Putin, which wouldn't exist if they would stop pretending that Putin wanted to conquer all of Europe, the longer they pretend that happens, the more they will need America to be their ultimate defender. But if it wasn't for that, Europe wouldn't have to worry about its security, because nobody is really threatening Europe. To be honest with you, no one. It's not like anyone's trying to coup them to steal their resources, because Europe has less resources, honestly, than some other continents. So, what we need to do is to celebrate the fact that there is a little bit of pushback, going on right now. We need to figure out, how we can build on the pushback that's already, existing in America. Because if you have someone even like Gavin Newsom, coming out and criticizing, what our military in Israel is doing, because he did talk about us bombing the school. Now, whether or not that means he's against the war in general, I don't know, but we are getting some pushback, out the gate. So we need to build on that. We need to capitalize on that. And we need to do everything we can to prevent Pete Hegseth from putting boots on the ground, because even Marco Rubio apparently doesn't want the boots on the ground. There's a standoff going on right now.
Yes, we talked about that earlier. They have this little conflict within, which was bound to happen at some point. All these missed messages all over the place. If we're even calling the thing a war or not a war, what the strategy is, why we're even doing it, what feelings are we doing? The Karen Levitt and her feeling. We're doing this off of a feeling. And so there's no exit strategy. We know there's no exit strategy. There was no entrance strategy. There's no strategy of any sort. That was the one thing for the Iraq war comparison. That was their big flaw, was they had no exit strategy. Although some would say it wasn't a flaw. That was always the point, was never to have that strategy. But they never got accused of having a bad entrance strategy. We're seeing this right up front. We're seeing a team that didn't even do that initial huddle correctly, as far as how you're even going into this initial attack. I mean, the whole thing is a complete joke. Here, let's follow up on Spain real quick. But that's great news about England. Although I think that might be a little, one of our viewers said, good cop, bad cop situation, just to show there was something that, who knows. But this seems pretty legit, what's going on with Spain, because they doubled down on this. He replies to Trump, and this is the important part, and this is why we talk about Iraq, and the shock and awe war on terror campaign from 2003. 23 years ago, that's 2003, U.S. government dragged us into a war with Iraq, a war said to fight to eliminate Saddam Hussein's nuclear weapons and bring democracy. But no nuclear weapon was found in Iraq. You can't fool us twice. Brutal. And that's to take a little quote from George W. himself. You fool me once, shame on me. Fool me. You can't get fooled again. Yeah.
Yep. I'm glad he's finally learning. Yep. But I mean, if only Europe would come around on Russia, I'm telling you, they would be in such a better position. But they kind of have to do this because like their energy costs are going up so much that this is not sustainable for Europe. Like they're going to feel the financial impact of this war even more than we will, and it's going to come a lot more quickly. So, I don't know if that viewer who commented "good cop, bad cop" is right, or if this is like actual genuine feelings, because again, it's not sustainable. And God forbid if Iran was to strike the desalinization plant for the GCC, which is one thing that's been talked about. I don't know if you had a chance to discuss that yet, but one of the ideas floating around is, Iran can essentially, kill the desalinization plant for all the GCC countries. And within 2 weeks, they would be out of fresh water, in Saudi Arabia and all those countries over there. So the entire oil infrastructure that trades with the US dollar would be gone. It would vanish just like that. So that's like the trump card that Iran could play if they wanted to end the war. But obviously, that would have a humanitarian impact too. Right. So I'm not saying that's what I want to see happen, but if they get pushed into a corner, you never know what they ultimately do. So this could go a lot of different ways. And again, if that happens, the effects obviously won't be limited to only there in the Middle East, because if all the oil from there gets shut down, at least we have some oil over here in America. Europe doesn't have any of that. And right now they're in a direct confrontation with Russia, so they have no energy. If that happens.
All right. So we're going to follow up on the oil part of this and the financial collapse and all the different countries reacting to that in the next segment. So we have all that set up. But right now, I just wanted to, since we're talking about perspective of 2003 to now, 23 years ago, Spain telling us we're not falling for this again. This is another lesson that we need people here to learn right now. Even lefties, actually, I would say especially lefties get especially confused by this part, because I hear people talking like now, people that hate Trump to death are telling us that we're doing this for women's rights. And I want to be very clear, and this is coming right from Spain. This is the MEP. She's telling us no woman has ever been freed by American bombs or illegal aggression. Not in Syria, not in Iraq, not in Lebanon, not in Afghanistan, and it will not happen in Iran either. They hide behind women's rights to justify their colonial wars. So that's something we got to really stick to people, because they fall for that they kind of get pulled on the emotional heartstrings, and they fall for that shit every time. So that's for the left to pretty much understand that the rest of the world, the people around the globe, are looking at this and like that. Guys, don't fall for that. That's not actually a thing. It's a manipulation. So I just wanted to say that part can be said out loud now, Jay, right? We can say we weren't really able to question that back when we were bringing democracy to Iraq.
Exactly.
We can have this discussion now.
Of course, and she could have taken it one step further and pointed out that women were only allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia as of, maybe a decade ago or something like that. But they weren't even allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia for most of the time that we've been working with them. So if you care about women's rights so much, why are you only selectively applying it to countries that aren't falling in line with the foreign policy that we're demanding? So the level of hypocrisy goes so many different ways over there. But, like she said, if you were to ask the woman on the ground over there, like, do they think this is a good solution to their problems? Of course, they're going to say no. And I was just reading a stat the other day, I believe, and I should have sent this to you, but I believe I read that over 2/3 of the scientists in Iran are women because, they take the education of women seriously over there. So, I'm sure life isn't perfect for them. And I know the burqa thing, I don't agree with it personally, but, at the end of the day, it's a different culture over there, and it's something that they need to, decide on their own and resolve on their own. But one thing we know for sure is that bombs are not going to, fix their humanitarian problems, like you said. But if 2/3 of the scientists over there are women, that tells you they do have rights. And that doesn't mean everything is perfect, but they're not all being oppressed. So
yeah. And if you're not living in Iran and you're from Iran, please don't. I don't want to tell you what to do or not to do on your social media, but I've seen so many of them that, and this reminds me of the Venezuela thing, where the people that move out of Venezuela, they go to South Florida and they start talking shit on their old country, and they go, yeah, we're so happy that Maduro got kidnapped. Yeah, that's coming from a Venezuelan. Yeah. And you're just like, what are you guys doing? And I see this happening right now, Jay, with some Iranian they're using this talking point, yeah, go get them, go take out that Ayatollah. Yeah, we need our rights. Where are you guys? I saw you in the street for Palestine. Why aren't you in the street for us? And like for you say us, but you're here. You're here. So there's I don't know, man. There's something about it. It doesn't sit well with me. If someone can be so.
We're in the street for Palestine because they're being bombed. We're not going to go into the street to celebrate the bombing like of another country. So, like at the end of the day, bombing a country is not how you fix it. Like that is not the solution to the issue. So, that being said, the only exception to that would probably be if a country is actually being aggressive. So again, I'm not advocating for war, but Iran does have the right to defend themselves. So,
No, they don't. Only Israel has a right to defend. Come on, Jay. How many times do we have to go over this?
They get to defend themselves preemptively, which should never be confused with offense. That should never be confused with offense. It's preemptive defense. That's what they do, I guess.
Israel's the only country that's allowed to defend itself. And by defending itself, I mean striking on all their neighbors and preemptively. Yes, that's exactly true. That's it. So when are you going to get it through your head, Jay? That's how it works.
I'm learning, man. It's complicated trying to figure out all the mental gymnastics, but I'm getting there. Just give me some time.
I found this beauty. This is a nice one to top off this segment with. This is this again for perspective on how imperialism works and why we keep taking out one leader after the next. There's a pattern to it. If you see any familiar faces on this video, you might want to reconsider how you perceive these people that you recognize and what you were told about them, because your opinion might have changed now for the better. Here we go. Wait, should I read this along? Okay, yeah, I'll read it along. Okay, this is Saddam. If you want to control the world as a whole, you must control the oil. One of the important requirements for controlling all the oil is destroying Iraq. Here's Chavez. The government of the U.S. doesn't want peace. That the government of the U.S. doesn't want. They want to impose its system of exploitation, plunder, and hegemony through war. Oh, look at this. It's Mandela. And there's a country that has committed unspeakable atrocities in the world. It is the United States of America. They don't care. Oh, look at this. It's Gaddafi. Let our American friends answer this question. Why Iraq? What is the reason? Where were the weapons of mass destruction? No, there were not. How can a prisoner of war, a president of an Arab country and a member of the Arab League, any one of you might be next? Anyone? Oh, that is dark. Castro, the best lands in Cuba and the most important industries were the properties of North American countries. And that situation should not be strange to many of the countries represented in the assembly. Okay, so we're seeing like a new perspective from people we were told want to either take over the world, they hate us for our freedom, death to America. We're hearing that shit again. Don't fall for it, guys. Death to America doesn't mean they want to take us over and take us down. Death to America means death to the thing, right? That we represent. That's death to the system that is destroying all of their lives and their leaders.
The truth is, they need a catchy slogan. And is it the best slogan? If I was to, look at it from a marketing perspective and the impact on it, the same way how I always said defund the police is not a good slogan, I would also probably say death to America is not the greatest slogan. But in both of those situations, the people who say defund the police, what they really mean is rebalance the city budget in a way where we are investing in ourselves and not over investing in police force and in the prison industrial complex. And when they say death to America, what they mean is death to the American government that has, destabilized their country and looted their resources, like for forever. So is it the best marketing to get their message across to everybody? Probably not. But it's a catchy slogan. It's a quick slogan that they're putting out there. And the truth is, we've been, destroying their lives like for the past few decades, starting with Operation Ajax. And what people don't realize is they wanted to be our friend. Like the president at the time during Operation Ajax trusted America. And he let the CIA into his country because he thought America would be on his side against the British. And their middle class is fairly Americanized. They were fairly liberal and progressive at that point in time. And then after we screwed them over, they just said forget it. And some of them did start getting a little bit leaning more into the religious aspect of things, but they're still a fairly liberal country among the middle class who appreciates American culture. So it's really the Epstein class that they're talking about. So don't get confused and focus on the words. They're not talking about death to Americans. What they really mean is death to the Epstein class.
Yeah, but they won't tell us that part here. They aren't going to tell us.
Yeah, and real quick, I see a lot of people who support the actions right now saying, oh, yeah, we took out the Ayatollah, we took out Maduro, we're unstoppable, we're America, we already beat him because we took out the Ayatollah. And they're just not realizing that the Ayatollah was literally literally planned to sacrifice himself for this cause because he knew that he wouldn't be able to survive this next round, even if he wanted to. So he wanted his death to mean something, which is why, they focused on succession, the entire time preparing for this. And the way we blew him up and our actions just, are being used to galvanize the people, for the cause. So everything is backfiring. So don't believe the propaganda when you hear, oh, we won because we took out the Ayatollah and some top generals. They've been planning for this. They knew that a lot of them knew they were going to die. So,
Yep. Our viewers know what's up too. They know what's up. We care about, historical context. We care about bringing these things up. And unfortunately, there's enough people that are also having these conversations now and understanding historical context matters. And that's good. It's good. I think it's hard to unlearn that now that we know to look at everything this way. We're not going to stop doing it. So I'm glad more and more people are having these.
Sorry, really quick, before we go to the next segment, the last thing I want to mention, I think I have a little bit more context on maybe why the UK decided to push back.
Okay.
So I'm sure for our viewers who don't know, the first real example of terrorism in the Middle East was Israel bombing the British-owned King David's Hotel, specifically targeting British military officers because they wouldn't support what Israel was trying to do at the time. Well, yesterday, I think I'd sent you, this link too. It was reported that Iran had bombed a British base in Cyprus, which is a country in the Mediterranean. Well, yesterday, the British government came out and said, we have identified the source of the drone that was sent into Cyprus. It did not come from Iran. But you know what, Matt? They didn't say where it came from.
Yeah.
So I think we know why they didn't say where it came from, because they don't want to address Israel too directly. But maybe the way they're going to push back is just say, you know what? We're not in this one, you guys. If you guys want to do it, go ahead, but don't drag us into your BS if you're already attacking us. But long story short, it seems like Israel bombed their base and they would not go along with the plan of allowing that base bombing to be blamed on Iran.
There it is. We covered this earlier. The UK says drone targeting British air base in Cyprus did not originate from Iran, but they didn't come out and say where it came from.
It's a mystery.
How cool would it be if they did? At this point, now that we know that they've actually vocalized their disdain for our Iran policy now, wouldn't it be nice? I don't think we're ever going to get that, but it's like an alternate universe we don't live in, but how badass would that be if Sturmer went a little further and said, yeah, we're not playing this false flag shit with you guys.
He's not going to take it that far. But, the fact that they're criticizing Trump's actions, I mean, that counts for something.
That counts for something.
Yeah, it counts for something. So I'll give him that.
Yeah, it's worth something. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the financial problem here. There's a massive financial problem. This is the thing we're never going to hear in the press secretary room, because it freaks everybody. It freaks the hell out of anybody in the Western privatized banking system that's been forcing the petrodollar on everyone for all these years. There is a problem. Let's go ahead and start with this part, because there's a few things to go through here, and I'm glad you're here with us, Jay. Help us with this. But let's start with the projection of what this war will actually cost when we get actually serious about the timeline. So this is from More Perfect Union. U.S. Central Command is now saying internally that this war against Iran is likely to last through September, according to information obtained by Politico. This would easily cost over $100 billion, and that number could go much higher. Why does it cost so much? We know it's not costing Iran that much when we do the math. Not even close. Their business model is like 1,000 times better than ours. But this is the type of money we're blowing billions already in the first less than a week. But the market is responding right away. This is from CNBC. The Treasury yields move higher amid rising oil and labor costs. So yeah, there's clearly an issue here. The U.S. Treasury yields moved higher on Thursday as investors continue to monitor developments in the U.S.-Iran war and weighed in the latest economic data. The benchmark 10-year Treasury yield was up more than 4 basis points at 4.131%. The 30-year Treasury bond added more than 3 basis points to yield 4.752%. And the 2-year Treasury note yield was more than 3 basis point higher at 3.574%. How does this affect us? Well, let's look at the this is the chart they provided. It shows a little bit of the changes going on there. This
is just one day. So
this is just day one. Okay. So this is not a projection, to be clear. This is just right now. This is the initial effects of
Well, this was as of yesterday night. So now it's probably higher than where it is right now. Just to break down what that means. So with bonds, when the price of the bond goes down, mean how much you have to pay for it, the yield of it goes up. And the reason the yield goes up is because, the reason the price goes down is because people don't want to buy it. That means they don't trust that it's going to be paid back. And so, exactly. So demand is lower. So in order to convince people to buy it, you have to pay them a higher interest rate. So this means that the cost of financing these wars is going up, because not only do you need to pay back the amount that you borrowed, you also need to pay the people who were lending you the money a fee, which everyone knows is interest. So the cost of it is going higher. And the reason is simply because people do not trust people are trusting our ability to pay it back less and less. This is not supposed to be happening because the U.S. government, and U.S. treasuries are supposed to be like the base of the global financial system and the most trustworthy asset, that you can imagine. So the fact that the treasury bond yields are going up and it's happening, as this Iran war is going on, is telling you investors perceive this as a bad decision and they don't know where it's going to go. And that's why today the stock market has been in complete turmoil. It was down, I believe, about 700-800 points, which is pretty big, for one day in the stock market. And surprisingly, crypto has been kind of even. In fact, it's been doing pretty good comparatively speaking. So it's down from its highs where it was last year, but considering how volatile it is, most people would have expected crypto to crash a lot harder than it is right now. So long story short, this does not bode well for the US dollar. Following the money tells us that investors do not trust what Trump is doing right now, and they think that we're about to get bogged down in something that'll be very bad for our economy.
Well, also doesn't help when you have these oil reserves in Saudi Arabia being taken out by Iran. I mean, taken out by Israel and blamed on Iran. Iranian state media, we shared this on Tuesday. They shared that Iran did not attack the oil refinery. This is one of the biggest oil refineries. It's in Saudi Arabia. It was Israel, and we know that this happened. We already got. I guess they had arrested some people there. Oh no, that was in Qatar. So I mixed up the actual arrest of Mossad agents was in Qatar. But they're saying no. We know that Israel did this. You guys remember we played the footage. This affects everyone in the region. This affects Europe. That thing. So we know who we're dealing with here, right? And this is the indication you gave that you feel that the reason UK backed off of Trump's plan, of Netanyahu's plan, is because just seeing this type of behavior going around, doing these false flag operations, and you're fucking with the oil, you're fucking with the economy everywhere. So everything's unstable. Nobody wants to invest in this stuff. Everybody knows it's a bad move right now to be putting any investment in anything to do with that. So China's the next one. Are we gonna? Can we look at this? Because I think, was this part of the plan that we wanted to put China in a position where they felt some sort of effect from this? Is because it didn't work so well in Venezuela. We wanted them to lose their oil contracts, their ability, their economy. We wanted to do some sort of thing to China. It doesn't seem like it worked in Venezuela that well. But now we got this breaking from Megatron. China's government has told the country's largest oil refineries to suspend exports of diesel and gasoline. So what is this? What is happening? Can you give us a little more clarity, Jay, on what China's maneuvering here on the chessboard? We know that they're helping Iran, or at least they're testing some weapons there right now. But as far as the economically speaking, the oil pipeline and why the suspensions here, is this a response to the oil refineries being bombed by Israel? Give us kind of a sense here.
Yeah, it's definitely a response to that, and it's also, I guess, them doubling down on the fact that they're willing to ride this out, with Iran, for as long as it takes, because it's going to increase the cost of living for people in China. And the fact that they're still going to try to defend Iran instead of joining with the West to try to pressure them, it tells you that China is trying to be on the right side of history on this issue. So again, I can't comment on what happens inside. Well, I'm not going to comment on what happens inside China, but in this situation, they are essentially willing to make sacrifices themselves to stand by Iran. And what the impact this is going to have on the global market is essentially less supply. And what happens if there's less supply, but the demand, is still the same because we're still consuming the same amount of energy? It means the price goes up. So, the fact that China is not exporting oil now because they want to hold on to the oil they have as this war wages on, it simply says that it's going to add more pressure to push the price of oil, even further up. And again, maybe they are anticipating that, Iran may wind up striking the desalinization plant, because if that happens, all the oil in the Middle East goes on pause, while they work on getting that fixed and back up and running. And if Iran essentially says that they're not going to let it get up and running, until America gets out of the Middle East and cuts off all the sanctions that have been placed on them, then, essentially they're trying to force the world to turn on America. That's essentially what they're trying to do. So we'll see if it goes that far, but China is clearly preparing themselves, in case that does happen.
And if you guys are wondering where Putin's stance is on this, as far as the oil, gas goes, he put this out, and this is an interesting maneuver from Putin. But I thought Trump was Putin's puppet. I'm so confused here because it doesn't sound like they're aligned here. I don't think Trump was going to be too happy about this one.
As they've just said, starting the 25th, they want to restrict Russian gas purchases, and then in 2027 they want to further restrict gas supplies from Russia. Now there are new markets that are opening up. Maybe it would make sense for us to stop our supplies to the European markets right now, to turn to the markets that are emerging and to consolidate our standing on these markets. This is not about politics, but if in a month or in 2 months they'll stop buying our gas, maybe we should preemptively turn to other markets in order to consolidate our standing there. This is not a solution. This is just what I'm thinking. It's not a done deal. I will instruct the government to work with our companies on this matter.
So he's just speculating out loud, it looks like, but he's showing that he's willing to, cut his own ties. And I think like what the difference between China and Russia versus us is they have abilities to sustain their economies for long periods of times when we're completely dependent on in the moment. I think that the in Europe, for particular European countries, are so unstable. We can't play the same cards that Putin and Xi Jinping can play because they have sustainable energy, sustainable ability.
Well, China gets a lot of its oil from Russia. And, Russia is, their main partner, when it comes to the oil supply. So if there was a rupture that happened between China and Russia at this point in time, China would be in a tough spot. But as far as self-sufficiency goes, you could really make the argument that Russia is the most self-sufficient country. Yeah. Like out of all the ones we've been talking about. But obviously, it makes more sense for them to do business around the world because that's how you increase your wealth you trade. So what Putin is essentially doing is pointing out that, hey, we wanted to do business with Europe. Obviously, Europe is a good market to do business with, when they're not acting, in favor of American, foreign policy, but they're willing to, they're essentially going to pivot to markets where they may not be able to charge as high prices just because they know that the political instability won't be the same. Because why would you build your economy, with a partner who may wind up cutting off that deal with you, over, like as they try to attack you in the next couple of years? Or would you rather go with an economy that maybe doesn't have as much money, but they're not going to treat you the same and they're not going to try to cut you off the way Europe will try to cut them off? So, they're essentially saying, it seems like the West is unreliable at this point. We're going to continue to work with other people to see what other business we can do, even if it means, some of our profit margins have to be a bit slimmer. So, it's really a global order that's being reshaped, in real time. And the longer Trump keeps this up, the more damage it's going to do to us in the long run, because we don't have to be imperialists. We don't have to be acting like this, but we are.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can move on to another good news. We like good news on the show, right? We like to announce some little mini wins or mini celebrations that are deserving of. I think this one certainly fits the bill. So let's take a look. This is a little changing of the guard going on here. This is, if you guys don't know him, this is Frederick Haynes. Frederick Haynes has won the Democratic nomination to replace Jasmine Crockett in the U.S. House District 30. Ooh, that looks promising. Let's see. Frederick Haynes, he's won the nomination for Texas 30th Congressional District, a seat currently occupied by outgoing Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. The Associated Press called the race for Haynes just after 10 p.m. on 10:15 on Tuesday in his campaign kickoff. He emphasized healthcare for all. Oh, that's a nice one. Economic equality. Okay, that's great. And abolishing ICE as priorities. Not abolishing ICE priorities. Abolishing ICE is the priority. Just to be clear on that one. Okay. Is there anything else to this guy? Should we look a little further at something else that kind of stuck out to us? And I'm glad you shared this one, Jay, because this might be the most important part that that article kind of missed. The most important part is probably this part.
Recognize that we got to be pro-Israel. Yeah, we got to do that, or we get in trouble. Well, I'm coming to get in trouble.
I'm coming to get in trouble.
Israel, and I'm going to quote Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter says that Israel is engaging in apartheid with Palestinians. And so the Palestinians who don't have the weaponry of Israel, the Palestinians don't have the financial backing from the United States that Israel has. And so they throw their rocks and shoot their arrows, and Israel is able to bomb them and kill them. Watch in the news the disparity between Palestinians being killed and Israelis being killed. It is totally unfair, but this country's gonna stand on the side of apartheid because that's its track record. It stood by apartheid in South Africa because it created apartheid in this country.
Yep.
I'm liking
Powerful
this guy.
words. Powerful words.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you compare that to Jasmine Crockett's interview when she was being asked about Israel by a friendly interviewer. This is a friendly person who was interviewing her and just giving a little bit of gentle pushback. Well, I'm sure you got the clip lined up. So I think we need to play it so people can make the contrast.
This is the distinction. So this is what you had going into the voting booth, guys. This is the two people you had up for your options.
Well, here's the thing. She was actually running for Senate against James Tallarico.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he came out strongly against Israel too. But anyway, go ahead. Play.
They didn't go against each other, but the seat was vacant.
Yeah.
And he came in and he grabbed it. But this is here's the Jasmine Crockett clip. This says everything. Now there's other clips. We could have pulled like there's 10 other clips of her doing horrible things. She did a horrible thing during COVID. I mean, she was absolutely awful. There's just all this stuff about somebody whispering in her ear and what this stuff is so bad what she's done. But this sums up everything. The exact opposite of what you just watched, guys. Check it out. When Jasmine's asked about Israel, like you said, in a very friendly setting. Here we go.
There was something that you said. You said that the relationship between the United States and Israel has existed long before you were born, I was born, and will exist long after.
Yeah.
But why does that have to be the case?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a valid.
It's valid, but I also want to frame it like people like you and myself. The United States is at a relationship with a lot of things: racism, sexism, homophobia, and we fight against those things every day. Fight to cut those ties every day. So why does it feel like this relationship with Israel has to prevail?
I'll tell you this: that right now, because this at least has been publicly stated, right now we have allies that are not sharing information with us because they don't trust us to be able to hold on to that information in a safe way. Obviously, we've seen what's happened with Signalgate, that kind of stuff. But I will tell you that Intel has always been very important to the United States. And so that's...
Okay. Well, let's move on to something more.
Let me translate what she said just now, right?
Okay.
What she said was a lot of countries in the Middle East hate us because we support Israel. And so we need intelligence on the countries that hate us because we support Israel. But those other countries don't want to give that information to us. So we need to continue supporting Israel so we can find out what they're doing. That's essentially what she's saying right now. So, and if you compare that to what the guy replacing her said, to what the guy she ran against and lost said, like James Tallarico, don't get me wrong, I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all because he does actually have Zionist funds behind him once you go back a few years. So, but he's at least saying the right thing. So if you're going to ask me, who am I going to choose? Someone who's at least pretending to push back versus someone like Jasmine Crockett who won't push back at all. You gotta at least try to get the person who's pushing back a little bit.
I mean,
so I don't really
maybe, but we've kind of been down this road with the Bernie thing where we're like, good speeches feel good, right?
Well, here's the thing, Matt. Do you think if Bernie had won the nomination, and he was the actual president of the United States. Could it have been worse than Trump and Joe Biden? I don't think it could have been worse. If they didn't cheat him and they actually let him get in, then it could have been a little bit better. It could have been slightly better. It's still not going to give us the systemic change we need. But the issue is, if he's there as controlled opposition, then he will take the L and he will lose. But still, I mean, I don't know.
There's a reason why he would never get the appointee. It's an appointee. It's not. It's a selection. It's a selection. It's not an election. There's a reason why he won't. And there's a reason why Thomas Massie won't get it either. Because he'll have to deflect to the person that beats him ultimately, which will either be, JD Vance or some other asshole. But the reason is that you can't keep that. The optics are too off. If you have a Bernie in office, who's going to be the radical left that says, give us money, we're going to have to talk him into some stuff? They're going to have to go more left to make us think that somebody's still fighting for us, and we have to just give a few more bucks to the Democratic Party so we can just maybe move the needle a little. You can't. So you got to make him the radical left. You see how? So you got to keep him as the radical on paper, which is not real. Obviously, you bring in Memdani, you got to keep these people in a position where they look like, oh, at least we have AOC, at least we have Bernie. They're doing something, at least little baby steps, right? But if you let them be the person there, you're right. It's not going to get any worse than what we have. But they're going to have to change the floor plan, because then how are they going to get our money if we got the radical guy in who's not doing anything? Then who's going to be the new? They have to come up with a new character, right?
Well, that's why I say, the problem is the centralization of power, like in all of these parties, because, assuming that pastor, who we heard does have good intentions, like either one of two things are going to happen. Either he's going to get pushed out because he is honest, or he's going to be forced to comply with what the Democratic Party wants him to do once he's actually in office. But, the win that we can take from this election, because I think we should still celebrate the win, is that people are at least now going to level one, and they're listening to what people are saying, and they're saying, I want someone who's going to criticize Israel. And then if they see that the pushback doesn't match the campaign rhetoric, then maybe they'll go to level two and they'll realize, okay, so even though James Tallarico did not take AIPAC money in this election, he did take money from a group that's funded by Miriam Adelson, who's Donald Trump's biggest donor. So now we're at level two. So now once they realize, okay, so even though they're saying the right words, they're accepting the money, and that's causing them to not do the right thing, then maybe at that point, those people will now realize, all right, I just got to go outside the system for a solution. But the fact that they're choosing people with the correct rhetoric is an improvement from where we were before. So I'll take the improvement. I just encourage people to go to the next level. And guess what? We have time, because this is just the primaries right now. So, I would encourage everyone as we go into the election, if you're in Texas and you're excited because you have now the opportunity to vote for James Tallarico, well, don't forget the Green Party also has candidates over here in Texas. We have Greg Stoker, who's going to be running for the Green Party here in Texas. He will actually push back. He will actually push back. So the solution is not going to come from the Democrat or Republican Party, because any honest person who gets elected in that party will be forced to comply or pushed out.
Yeah. And Nayland reminds us that Bernie, AOC, Elon, there are many, many more in the DNC. There are all these other things first besides the American people. You don't see an American flag on those emojis for a reason. But yeah, Israel's in there. It really is. And that's why I think that's why it's exciting to hear that this guy, Frederick Hayes, pulled this off, just because he's saying things that Bernie would never say, that AOC wouldn't even ever say, Mamdani wouldn't say. They would never say these things. Ilhan Omar wouldn't say these things. Ilhan Omar only gets up and says, you've killed American people, but never talks about these psychotic wars that we're all voting for. Won't say anything about the Maduro situation in Venezuela. Won't say anything about all of this imperialism shit. This dude looks like the real thing. He looks like the real thing. But you mentioned just so people know that there was another election that she did lose. It wasn't to him because she left the seat she left her seat to Frederick Hayes, who picked up that seat, and then she lost. Is this right? She lost to this guy,
James Tallarico. Yep. So he is the guy who, I don't know if you remember the controversy with Stephen Colbert about an interview that couldn't air because the guy was critical of what Israel was doing, or critical of Trump, sorry, and it had to do with Trump's support for Israel. This is actually the same guy that was actually, no, it might have been criticizing Trump for ICE, but he has said some things about Israel and the war against Iran
he was
too.
criticizing about ICE. It wasn't Israel.
Oh, it was all ICE. Okay.
Yeah.
So long story short, like the truth is, guys, it's just controlled opposition. Like he is funded by Trump's top donor, yet he claims to be pushing back against Trump. Just look up what kabuki theater is. This is manipulation in politics. They have a specific name for manipulation in politics when you play good cop, bad cop, and it's called kabuki theater, because this is a concept that goes back centuries. This isn't anything new. You give the people the illusion that there is a difference between the choices when they're both actually working towards the same goal. So this is something, again, like that has been a trick up their sleeve of the establishment since democracy was introduced to the people.
Okay. How are you doing on time, Jay? Are you able to do the last one with me, or do you have to cut out?
Yeah, let's do it real quick.
Okay, well, I'm gonna we'll do it quick, but this is where we're gonna do loudest voice of the week, and we've been kind of waiting on this one because it's a punch, and I think people need to know how important this moment is. It's a big one. This is a big one. So we thought we would I want you on this one for us. So I think I got it all set up. Okay, guys. If you've been watching the show, you probably know what this is. It's not going to be a surprise who gets the loudest voice of the week if you've been paying attention. But we're going to do the intro anyway. Here we go. It's the loudest voice of the week. I'm here with co-host Jay Scott. And boy, do we have a big one for you guys today. For all you people that consider yourselves activists or champions of independent media, champions of third-party politics, challenging the duopoly, challenging the war machine, specifically challenging the U.S.-Israel war machine and the imperialist monster that we've lived in, because it's all one big party. It's one big club. You ain't in it. So we have another courageous military member. He's actually a veteran, a Marine veteran. His name is Brian McGinnis. If you haven't heard yet, this blew up in the last day. Brian McGinnis, just so you don't know the backstory, he's actually running for Green Party, a candidate out in North Carolina. He's in the same community along with Anthony Aguilar. We've had Anthony Aguilar on. He's also standing up against the same components, running for office, running for third party. We've had Anthony on the show. You guys know we even have Kelly Lane, who works with us on third party organizing. She has been in communication with Brian McGinnis before this event occurred, and so we're looking to get him on the show very soon because we actually had communication with him before this happened. But when we saw this, we were like, oh my God, we could not believe what he did, putting his self out there like you've never seen before. Not to build it up, but Brian McGinnis decided to go. Actually, we'll let him tell it yourself. He actually told us what he was going to do before he did it. So we'll hear it from his own mouth. Here it is.
Hey guys, I'm here in DC trying to speak out against the Senate and ask them why they're going to send our men and women to harm's way when our elected officials said that there would be no war. Anybody who feels disillusioned and betrayed by our government, you're not alone. Join us in demanding accountability for this betrayal. Free Palestine, free America. Let's go.
before I show you what happened, and I don't mean to be like, building it up so much, but it is a pretty big deal. I want to just remind you guys the optics going in, why this is so important. Max Blumenthal is telling us, look, the U.S.-Israeli war on terror continues with 2,000 bombs dumped on densely populated neighborhoods in Tehran, a city of 9 million people. The objective is mass death. As we've heard from our own Secretary of War, he's telling us out in the open, the objective is mass death. If there's an anti-war movement in the U.S., now is the time to mobilize. This is the bombing. This is what's going on right now. Just so you guys understand, this is what our Secretary of War is doing. This is what our entire Congress is behind. They blocked the War Powers Act, and they high-fived about it. They were all in on it. So the executive branch can do whatever the F they want. Congress wants nothing to do with it. There is no anti-war movement within Congress, as we know. So as Max Blumenthal asks, wouldn't you guys think now is a good time for a little anti-war activity? Well, guess who thought so? Brian McGinnis. So he went right in, and this is what happened to him when he exercised his right, not just as an ex-veteran, Marine, but as a U.S. citizen. He exercised his right to protest against policy that we did not sign up for, and our Congress people did not even vote for. Here it is.
Out! No one wants to fight for Israel!
His hand! His hand! Oh! His hand!
Sir. Let go of your hand. Let go of the door. Let go of the door. The senator broke his hand. A sitting U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine. Sir. Okay. Control your Senate. Arm stuck in the door. Okay, sir. A U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine. Hand stuck. A U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine. You're a coward. Punk. Yeah, go fuck yourself. What do you say? Senator? Go fuck yourself. You're a shit seal. That's why you got kicked out. Fat ass.
Everybody sit down, please. Sit down, please. Everybody sit down, please. Everybody sit down, please.
I'm getting out of here.
That's fine. Everybody sit down, please.
Is your hand okay?
Okay.
No, it's not.
This is disgusting. Disgusting.
Just pull it out.
Disgusting.
Who said just pull it out? The guy, if you couldn't hear, if you were there, people were saying there was a snap, a loud snap when that senator went over there and basically just ripped his arm in the wrong direction, acting like a psychopath. And that senator's name is Tim Shealy, and Tim Shealy has clearly somebody that is representing his donors' interest, his AIPAC interest, and we know this because all you have to do is go back and see what Tim says about the people he actually works for and why he was the very first one to rush Brian McGinnis to stop him from what was he doing? He was standing in the back of the room saying, "No war for Israel. We will not die for Israel." He was yelling it loud, and apparently that if you do that, you deserve to have your arm broken while you're being detained and ultimately arrested, which is what happened. They're actually trying to file charges on him right now for what? For shouting "No war for Israel." Here's Tim Shealy, just so you know who did that.
I'm Tim Sheehy. I'm a recently elected U.S. Senator from the state of Montana, and I'm here as my first act as elected senator to show our allies in Israel and the broader allies throughout the Middle East that America still has a commitment to this region, and there's no question that America stands with Israel, stands with the men and women of Israel, and of course we'll do everything we can to make sure the IDF and the men and women of the IDF have the best gear, intelligence, technology, and support they have to get this done. And of course, we've seen recent events unfold continually, from the events in Syria to, of course, broader geopolitical events in the region, that this is still unfolding, and the next couple of years are going to be very pivotal for the future of the Middle East and the world. And we need to make clear that the United States has a strong, consistent foreign policy that projects strength, and projects the certainty that we're going to be involved here. We're going to support our allies, most importantly, the men and women of Israel. I'd say finally, Israel's got a friend in me, and America's got your back 100%. And most importantly, we got to bring those hostages home tomorrow. We're not going to stop. We're not going to relent until we bring them home. We're going to have your back 100% as you pursue that aim. And it's an honor to be here.
Did he just say we are not going to stop until we bring those hostages home? So you're ready to stop now, right? No, you're not. You're not stopping. You're never stopping. You're working for Israel. You're telling your constituents, you're saying, vote me in because we have to make Israel the number one priority. This is the guy who rushed this brave patriot who, again, representing the anti-war movement that we need to have right now. This guy's a hero. Obviously, Brian McGinnis is a hero. There's no question about that. I'm just so absolutely disgusted by the online psychopaths that are championing this psycho senator and calling Brian McGinnis some sort of domestic terrorist, which is the playbook. Jay, what's your thoughts on all this? I mean, what are we seeing the same playbook, or is there something else happening here as far as the impact that he has made in the last 24 hours?
Well, that senator says that he wants America to project strength. Well, letting a pathetic little country made up of a bunch of leeches who can't survive without us having without having our support unconditionally, no matter what they do, is not exactly projecting strength. Strength would be standing up for the interest of what's best for the people in the country, which is not wasting our money on endless war. So if you want to talk about, projecting strength, how about you project strength by doing what's right for the people of America instead of bowing to the interest of Israel? But as far as what, the veteran did, again, he's a hero. I think all the people who are making these pro-Zionist speeches, especially in this day and time, need to be made uncomfortable as they're making these speeches in a peaceful way. The way the veteran did it, the way McGinnis did it is, inspiring. Jose Vega has also used his voice in similar ways in the past, and we need to shout out people, who are willing to make these types of interventions. But I think that the veteran needs to file charges against the U.S. senator. Like they're filing charges on him. No. He needs to file charges against the U.S. senator who is not security. What right did the U.S. senator have to get in there and assault that veteran? He didn't have any right to do that. So I think he needs to press charges against that man. So I'm hoping that justice is served in this situation and the guy responsible for breaking his arm is held accountable, because security is if there is a security breach, they are allowed to remove someone safely, but that's not the U.S. senator's job. He had no right to do what he did. So that man deserves to be in jail. I hope that he does go to jail. And I support what that veteran did. And I think more people need to follow in his footsteps, because if you're going to get up in front of a crowd of people and make the argument that we need to continue bombing Iran and destabilizing the Middle East, then you don't have our best interests at heart and you don't deserve respect. That's my opinion. So,
yeah. And I wish I think I actually just found a longer one where we can see some of the way people are responding to this guy. It's unbelievable. This was Max's follow-up that he says that the former U.S. Marine Sergeant Brian McGinnis, as he's dragged out of Congress, he says no one wants to fight for Israel. This guy that we just showed you can be seen helping the cops manhandle the veteran, and then he ends up that he should absolutely file charges against him for basically cracking and breaking his arm. Let's see a little from this other angle. I just found this one. I thought I had queued this up earlier, but you guys, if you haven't seen this angle of it, a little bit of this. Here we go.
The reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel. Let's go. Come on, let's go. America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel.
I think that beginning was important because you guys are going to see a lot of lies. We've already seen a lot of lies on mainstream saying that this guy was aggressive. He was threatening. People were scared. All of those are lies. You saw them. He was sitting. He was obviously being professional and non-threatening, but he does have a loud voice. I love the loud voice. That's what Jose Vega talks about about how you have to project and you got to have your sound ready to capture the moment, because your voice is the most important. That's the most important thing. Expect to be manhandled. Expect to be tackled. I don't know if even Jose would say expect to have your arm broken. That's not what you're really signing up for here, but you do expect somebody to rush you, but you have to be loud. So there's nothing, nothing he's doing. Yeah.
Security wouldn't have handled it like that. They wouldn't have broken the man's arm intentionally. It was because the U.S. senator wanted to play tough guy and then get involved in, defending his donor's interests. And, that's why the guy's arm got broken, because security is trained not to, well, obviously they do sometimes, go overboard, but breaking the man's arm, that was something that was done by someone who wasn't trained to be a security guard. So again, he had no right to do what he did. So
let's see a little more from this angle.
Your inability to name that shows your exemptness as leaders. This is wrong. And nobody wants to fight for Israel. A reminder to all our Commandant, please stand up as a Marine and stand up for America. No one wants to fight for Israel.
It heard the crack. Wow.
Sir, thank you for your service. The senator broke his hand. The senator broke his hand.
Please help him.
Senator.
He's a Marine. Somebody come help him.
Control your Senate committee.
Look at you guys. You're robots. You won't even look back. Look at you guys. You're like robots. Oh my God, what is happening? And you're not even looking back. Any of you 4-star generals. Oh my God, what is happening right now? I front robots. Shame. Shame. Oh my God, you guys. What did I just see? I'm getting out of here.
That's fine. Everybody sit down, please.
Oh my God, what is happening?
Okay, good. No, it's not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is the Code Pink. I think this is the Code Pink team.
Oh my God, you guys.
I think so. We'll see when they get out there.
A little bit just to change the gap. Hey guys, clear the hallways.
Out.
Clear the hallways. Clear the hallways, please. Clear the hallways, please.
Can you help him, please?
Yes, yes. All the places going there. Please clear the hallways.
Oh my God. What happened? His hand got totally smashed. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why are you getting arrested?
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, Palestine will be free.
And what about this war in Iran?
Oh my God.
At no point did he swing on it.
Ah, fuck, my arm is fucking broke. What are you gonna do to him? My left arm is broke. I understand.
Oh my God. Oh, you guys, come on.
I need you to move. You need to stop. Okay.
Brian, stop.
He's fighting for you, not for him.
They broke his arm.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's totally broken.
Oh man.
Please, can you get him some kind of medical attention?
Yes, we are.
Oh my God.
You are straight.
My arm before you sit down.
Y'all step back, please. Please
Can
put
you
back.
get
Keep
him
this
some
walkway
medical
open.
attention?
Man.
Yep.
So what we know, yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, just an update on his status right now, because I do want to give another shout out to Kelly Lane for having the dialogue with his team, and we're trying. I mean, he was already, again, he's running for Congress, guy. He's in an active campaign in North Carolina right now, and so there are conversations about how you get people's attention. Obviously, nobody saw this coming. He would have his arm broken. He's actually in surgery right now. From what we're hearing, and his family had to release this just so people understood that how this is on behalf of Brian's family. We want to express our deepest gratitude for the overwhelming outpouring of support, messages, and contributions over the last 24 hours. At this time, our priority is Brian's well-being. We're taking a necessary step back from the public eye to allow him focus fully on his recovery in private, while he looks forward to engaging with all of you again very soon. His health and his family remain the current priorities. Thank you for your continued patience, for being such an incredible community. Please keep Brian and his family in your prayers. That's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful.
Yeah, and a break like that can cause permanent damage. So I hope he's able to regain full use of everything in his arm, and I hope the doctors take excellent care of him. But that was a very loud snap.
You don't hear it until we see that raw footage and the girl going out there and just trying to figure out, and you can hear the panic in her voice. Mm-hmm. How can there, and this has been the theme all day today, Jay. I talked to Craig about this earlier. There's this divide between people with their humanity versus the robots, really. How can you sit there? How can you sit there void of any humanity when you have people that are affected? You can hear the crack. You can see what's happening. You hear the trembling in her voice, following him outside and just saying, I cannot believe we're living in a country that allows this to happen, and everyone's going to pretend like we're going about our day and everything's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. And so what side are you on? Are you on humanity, Team Humanity, or Team Terminator 2? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. And, unfortunately, I guess a lot of people just want to avoid controversy. That's what it is. All those people in that room, they understand that Zionists sign their paychecks. And, if they were to take the side if they were to take the right side, on this issue that is best for not just the Palestinians, not just the Iranians, but the side that's best for Americans, which is for us to stop wasting money on this war overseas, then your donors have a problem with that. So, at the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves, how much longer, we can allow this to go on. So, I look forward to a speedy recovery from Mr. McGinnis. And, I hope that he is able to resume his campaign. Yeah. And I have a very strong feeling that moment will bite them in the ass.
Oh, yeah. Anybody who's on the side of this psycho senator, who really, he should be understanding the optics. He should be apologizing, saying, hey, obviously nobody meant to. No, there's some people think he's the hero here. He stopped the violent domestic terrorist guy from causing any harm. What?
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing we keep seeing. They think that the best defense is a good offense. That's why Elon Musk, who's caught up in the Epstein files, calls for the Epstein files to be released. That's why this guy who just illegally assaulted a Marine officer and got involved in a situation he had no right to get into, he's going to say the Marine officer was a threat. He's going to say, oh, he was being violent or, something like that. So they're just going to continue to double down because they know a certain number of people are going to agree with them regardless. And they're dependent on Americans being, ignorant. They're dependent on Americans, I guess, hatred for Islam, because that's the only reason people still support Israel who aren't being directly paid. They're scared of immigrants and they're scared of Muslims. And so they think the best way to fight against that is to support Zionists. I don't see any other reason why someone could still be supporting Israel in this day and age. So yet another example of how hate, is used to manipulate people against their own self-interest.
Yeah. Well, make no mistake, guys, this was a clear, deserving of what we call loudest voice of the week. And there he is. No one wants to fight for Israel. A noble, courageous moment. That's U.S. Marine Sergeant Brian McGinnis, and he gets this week's loudest voice of the week.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
But yeah, on that note, I got to dip out of here. Great work as always, Matt. You guys can catch me on Twitter at JS Ascension, and I will catch you soon. Later,
awesome.
Matt.
Thanks so much, Jay. We'll see you next time. Bye. Jay Scott, everybody. All right. Yeah, this won't be a 5-hour show this time. But we will let me do this because we're gonna wrap it up here in just a moment. Let me just I'm not gonna play the talking back thing. I just want to make sure you guys know that we're here to talk with you and have these back and forths. And it's not just entertainment and education. It's not just those things. It's not just, hey, we did some research for you. We're calling out the problem. That's not the extent of it. We don't end on problem has been discovered. We go to the next step here on the homeless stuff. We talk about activism. We talk about mobilization. We talk about solution. So we're here to bridge that gap for you guys in the anti-establishment space of independent media, of independent journalism, of punching up media. We're here to connect the dots and bridge the gap between calling out the problem and finding that solution, the activism to it. So whatever that looks like, whether it's promoting different groups that are challenging the uniparty, we will do that. We will bring people on from We the People. We'll bring people on from No Peasants. We will have discussions with third-party candidates. We will tell you guys what you can do locally to help fight this uniparty, this Israel first psychotic uniparty that also involves the media. It involves the protection of the propaganda wing of the machine, which is these media psychopaths that aren't even journalists. They are propagandists, and they do the bidding of the CIA, the Mossad, and the pedo class. It's a whole new world now. We have the Epstein files are showing us how they're all in on it. So our work is not just showing you what's in the files. It's saying, what do we do about it? And we don't know all the time. We have to figure it out. But that's our intention, is to figure that out. We're not just sitting here being nihilists. We're not just like, oh, the world is what it is, and oh, well. We want to do something about it, whatever we can. We want to go out, the resistance. We want to be in that resistance movement, right? John Connor resistance in Terminator 2. It's not just, yelling and bitching about it. It's trying to do something about it. So that's what we're about. And we want to give you guys the tools that you can go out into your circles and your spaces, whether it's online or it's face-to-face, real life spaces, and engage with people, share out what we have, start conversations, educate people, and give them tools that they can then go out and organize, mobilize. In the case of Loudest Voice of the Week, you disrupt. You're not just protesting, you disrupt, and you put yourself in situations that you might be risking things. You might be doing that, and that's okay. And you don't have to risk your whole life for this stuff, but it's okay if we feel like we're getting to that point. We're crossing this line. We're on a list now, guys. We're on a list. They can find us. They're watching us, but that's okay. That's what we signed up for when we said, you know what? We're not going to keep our mouth shut. We're not just going to be silent. Shelter in place. 2 weeks to slow the curve, put another mask on. We're not just going to put whatever flag in our social media profile that they told us to put in. We're not just going to yell and scream at our neighbor and say you voted for the wrong person. What we're going to do is we're going to speak up against the entire apparatus, right? The entire system that made us think that the people up here had our best interests in mind, and we're really trying. No, they weren't. And no, they weren't. They were raping children and eating them. That's what they were doing. And the media was protecting them because they knew it. They knew it. We knew about Pizzagate. We knew all of it. We saw it. We saw the emails. We know about it all. We saw it 10 years ago. We know it all. We know they're all in on it. Okay, you guys know. I'm preaching to the choir now. Let's just wrap it up now. I'm going to star a few of these and try to put them on at the end. I'll try to do that, guys. And we do look forward to having Leslie back with us, hopefully next week. I think we should be able to get her in here. She does this stuff much better than me as far as the talking back with you guys. So if there's any more super chats, I do want to say thank you for the super chats. I know Citizen, you really gave us some good ones here today. I'll throw one more of yours up that was my favorite one. What was my favorite one of yours? Oh, well, this one's important. The pasta, we need to ask him next week. We'll ask him next week about validating the 800, but I promise that number's going to get even higher. That number's going to get even higher. Forget the 4s and 6s they're telling you guys. There's way more U.S. servicemen being killed, and it's a scary thing, but it's a real thing, and we need to get more insight on that, because they're not going to tell you that on the media. But thank you so much, Citizen, for all that, and I'll throw one more of yours up here. Oh yeah, this is true. This is true. We talk about the 10 billion spent in 6 days. Do the math, guys. They just told us we're going to be in this war with Iran through September. So if it's 10 billion in 6 days, do the math. How many more billion is that? How many more billion is that? Are you okay with that? I know I'm not. I'm not okay with that. All right, let's see if there's any Rumble rants here. I don't think we got any. I don't think we got Rumble rants today. That's okay. We'll get some of you guys next time. We didn't get a Rumble raid either, which is fine. We don't want to get too spoiled with that when our friends over at Do Dissidents, like, they'll raid our channel once in a while. We didn't get it today, but I do appreciate all your guys' contributions today. You guys did some great comments. I tried to get a few up during our conversations with Craig and Jay, and just, yeah, shout out to Craig Pastor Jardula and to Jay Scott for showing up today, giving us some good content, good material, good discussion, dialogue, even a little bit of debate. You guys know I like to debate. Craig and I like to debate a little bit. Once in a while we do a little friendly debate, which is nice. It's not just one big echo chamber. Okay, well, that should do it for today. Is there anything else that I missed? I think we got it for today. If you don't know, you know now that we've been the terrorists the whole time, guys. We're the terrorists. So yeah, let's stop supporting terrorism. How about that? Let's stop. Let's just stop. There we go. Okay. I'll leave you guys. What do we have for you? A little fun outro. Oh, this is fun. This one's a fun one. Okay, guys. I'm glad I saved this one. You're gonna love. If you haven't seen this, if you don't know who Paula White is Trump's religious fanatic lunatic person assigned as his spiritual advisor. That's right. Trump has a spiritual advisor. Watch this clip. It's going to be on the outro here. So watch it on the way out. Watch the entire thing, guys, so you can really, really appreciate how effing psycho she is. Keep in mind while you're watching that Marco Rubio is telling us that Iran is the country that's run by lunatics. Yeah, that's right. Iran has the religious fanatic lunatics, not us. We don't have any psychopath religious fanatics running around here. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what you think after you watch the clip. Okay, that should do it. Thanks to Jay. Thanks to Craig. Thanks to all you guys, everybody helping us out. Remember, when you go out into the world, always go out with courage, with conviction, and above all else, principle. We'll see you next week. Power to the people and free Palestine. We're out.
Strike and 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 strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of shouting and singing. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. For I hear victory, 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 victory in the corridors of heaven. In the corridors of heaven, victory, 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 victory. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rike didi ashata. For angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here. In the name of Jesus. From South America. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. From Africa. From South America. Angelic forces. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Fika hata anda ata. Ora bata rata anda eke eke manda rasata. For I hear the sound of victory. 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 I hear the sound of victory.